Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. I'm here with Clint Helinski and Rob Hunter. And Clint asked me today if I would help out and close out Pirate Queen versus Slave Girl. And I said, yeah, that sounds like fun. So here we are.
Absolutely. No, this all worked out terrific. Me and John have been talking. I think we were on Mandy's channel together.
Yes, we were on Mandy and Shane. They did a shill stream, and that was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And that's where I met you. Loved your book. Your book looks freaking amazing.
Thank you.
Love Renzo. Like Renzo is like one of the top artists out there, and he does just fabulous work. He's doing a fantastic job on your book. It looks gorgeous. So
thank you.
And like literally, this kind of helps me out because like, you know, your YouTube channel, you got a ton of subscribers compared to mine. Like I tried to push my YouTube, but like YouTube is difficult. It's like there's like some kind of trick nuance to it, and like finding that audience, and you've definitely found your audience. So
I wish I knew what I did, because people but I think it's just persistence, because I started like over 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And for 90, I'm not gonna say, but about 3/4 of the time, it was just me talking to the same 4 people. Thank you guys.
And sometimes that's how it gets. Yep.
And I wish I knew what it was that all of a sudden, boom, people started.
Yep.
I blew up like within like a 2-month period. I know what it was. RJ from the Fourth Age just invited me on and started talking to me. And he's got like 22,000. So that.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. RJ
that makes a big difference when one of the bigger YouTubers notices you and kind of invites you on their show, and you kind of get the back and forth going. Yeah, that's what's great about this comic book community. And there's YouTubers, and they're into comics, they're into sci-fi, they're into gaming, whatever. But it kind of crosses over to everything. So you do shows like this. You talk on Twitter. You meet people that you wouldn't have necessarily known, and it spills over, and everybody kind of it is a comic community. Everybody's kind of trying to help each other out. So
kind of. Everybody.
Well, there's always a kind of. But Rob, the people are helping each other out, though.
Well, first up, Rob, Clint and I have been talking. So how you doing, Rob? This is the first time meeting you. How's everything?
I'm doing pretty good. This is can you hear me okay?
You're a little low.
Really?
Yeah.
How about now?
A little low, but I can see you better.
I don't even know how to adjust it on my iPad. This is old school. I haven't had to do this in a year, where I'm having a stream from my iPad. So I haven't figured that out. How to raise the volume? Let me hit a couple of buttons.
Do you have where it says settings on the StreamYard itself?
I have more.
Because if you could go into settings, go to audio, and there should be a little bar that you could slide.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
Because I see it, and it's on the lower end, but I can't change it for you.
All right.
So Clint, I've been getting your comics for a while.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I think they're fun. And it's funny because I'm known as the wholesome guy and stuff like that. I got no problem with nudity and gore and all that stuff. It's just that for my particular comic, I want it to be all ages, because I want to.
Oh, absolutely.
Reminiscent of Bronze Age Marvel and DC, but I got no problem. I'm not a prude by any means. I think your comics are fun, but more than that, I really, really love that issue of the Superiors where you kind of goofed on the Crisis on Infinite Earth.
Yeah,
and
that was fun.
A multiverse crisis thing in one 48-page comic or 36-page comic, and I thought it was great. It was so much fun.
That was kind of my and I mean, as much as I love the TNA stuff and I love doing it, and I know there's a big fan following, that Superior storyline, that's what I really, if I was doing something all the time every day, that's what I would prefer to be doing, the Superior. And unfortunately, that book did okay for me, but it does not do as good as the TNA stuff. It's easier. It's just the easier sell. And I got to make these books sell in order to keep doing the other stuff. So the TNA stuff selling allows me to do the next Superiors book.
Well,
'cause
it's like I forget who the actor was that he says he does a Hollywood blockbuster and then he goes and does his little art film.
Yep.
The Hollywood, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And that's the best description of it is like you do one to pay the bills, you do the other because that's where that's what you love doing. So
a little sneak peek or spoiler, or like I said, my Heroic Tales, I want it to be wholesome, all ages, but pushing the line, but nothing that you couldn't show to your kids. But I do have a full-on horror comic planned, a full-on mythological war battle comic planned. So you know what I mean? So I don't want to be pigeonholed as that, hey, he does that nice, wholesome comics, which I would like to. So yeah. So there you go.
And that's, everybody worries about that. Like, I don't worry about it. I'm going to put out the next book that I decide I think is going to do the best thing. Like, whether it's going to be like Pirate Queen or Blue Bombshell or Superiors. I've got some like spy stuff, like some like James Bond stuff. That
I'm not smart enough to write that.
Well, my stuff's always a little bit tongue in cheek. There's always a little like twist of humor to. I don't take anything too. I've got one story that's real serious, but that'll be for down the road. But it's like you worry about pigeonholing yourself, but you got to do what you got to do, basically.
Yeah. Well, if you're not excited about it, then
yeah.
The fans are not going to be excited reading about it.
Exactly.
So, Rob, did you get the audio? Let's hear.
Do you? How do I sound?
Perfect.
Oh,
sounds good now. Good.
Exactly what you told me to do. So thank you very much, and
you got
that for next time.
Your voice is like butter in my ears.
Ooh, we could spoon now. Ooh, Rob. Tell me more about my eyes.
So pretty.
So first, before we go any further, let's adjust the chat. So first off, we got Haldir the mod. He's putting in the link to my campaign. I'm not above shilling myself whenever I can.
Absolutely.
I gotta fund my comic. We'll talk about it a little later. I'll bring up the campaign page a little. But right now, let's get to know each other. We got I can't even speak anymore. Pirate Queen versus Slave Girl right here. This is closing. When is this closing?
This is the 30-day closeout campaign. It ends tonight in about 6 hours. So
okay.
Yep. So this campaign and the link that I've given everybody that's in the chat right now, that is the link to the secret discount reward. So you can look through all the reward tiers, you can look through everything, but the secret discount reward tier is available in this link. And basically what you're going to get in that is you're going to get everything in the campaign, and you're going to save $60 off the regular price. So you're basically 2 original art adult sketches of Pirate Queen and Slave Girl are in there, and 5 adult prints are in there. You're basically getting those for free with this reward tier. You're saving $60. It covers the price of those 2 things. You're going to get all 7 of the variant covers, the 4 regular covers, and the 3 adult nude variants, trading cards, lenticular hologram card, everything. So that link will take you to that. You can look through all the reward tiers, but that secret discount reward tier is in there too. So if you want to get it, the whole bundle and save some money, that's available to you with that link. So just to let everybody know.
And you can get everything. You can get all of it. Nice.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We all know us comic book collectors, we're obsessive. We got to get
that's kind of.
You
want to give everybody the chance to get all of the stuff, so I wanted to make sure.
Devil Flyer, is your campaign still active? If it is, send a link to Marcus, and we'll throw it in the chat too. I believe in helping everybody. I want everybody. First off, I want good comics. I want to be lousy with good comics. I want to be tripping on good comics. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
If you guys do good, that doesn't take anything away from me. I don't believe in the zero-sum loss. That's
yeah.
Ronan, hail the long box, listening while on the road. Well, keep safe. Then, I hate this guy.
Oh, he never stops.
You got to say hi to the chat.
Hey, Marcus.
Marcus.
And we got Brian Bow. Brian Bow has Wolf and Batsy. He's delivering now. I can't wait. He just let me know that he shipped out my comics. Wolf and Batsy is a lot of fun. Hey, Brian, do you mind if other people come in? We'll make a party of this. Brian, do you want to come in and talk? If
Yeah,
so,
the more the merrier.
Yeah, Brian, come on in. Come on in. Hey, Chris Dahl, Longbox Punk. I felt like we didn't finish our talk. We talk about punk rock and comic books. I felt like we were, born to be best friends. Like that. You ever see Step Brothers? Like, did we just become best friends?
I was just watching it earlier tonight.
I love that. Rob, did you work Green Lantern?
I did a year on Green Lantern. I worked on Red Lantern. I launched Red Lantern with Ed Benes. I was like a decade at DC.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
well,
which
see,
was
I got
a
my
lot
Green Lanterns
of fun.
behind me because I knew that I knew you were coming, so I got my Green Lanterns.
Oh, very
did
cool.
you just love drawing Atrocitus?
Ed did such a good job. I really was just trying to keep up with him because his Atrocitus was awesome. All of his, the one thing, by the time Ed and I were doing Red Lantern 1, it started like 2 months later than they told me originally. So I was already a little grumpy. So in that first issue, I thought was super cool because I was like, wow, this first issue reminded me of like Uncanny X-Men 275. I thought they were going to be introducing new bad guys and all this stuff. And then it went nowhere. The whole time Ed and I were on it, it was stall while they get other stupid events going.
Well, Jeff was writing the main stuff, and you guys were kind of just periphery kind of thing.
I don't know what really happened, but Atrocitus he did stuff when they introduced him on the Green Lantern books, and he was a doer, and in Red Lanterns he was a do-nothinger. And I made some jokes because it was all about he was always talking to the dead body of the one blue, the blue guys that created all the rings.
Indigo guys, right?
No, the blue guys who actually created the rings.
The Guardians.
Yes,
the Guardians. Yeah.
Well, the evil one, Atrocitus, killed him, or didn't kill him, but he wanted to kill him, and he was talking to his body in every issue. And I said, if we see him for one more issue, I'm going to draw him in a baby stroller in a panel where he's just pushing around a dead body. And the editor goes, oh, don't worry. That was the last issue with the dead body. But I just remember going, what a shit story. You got Ed Benes, like the things he could do. And this is what you have him doing after his Justice League run. And it was just, I was like, oh. And then
this is what I was reading right before we started.
Yeah. And his fans told me, or the Red Lantern fans told me, that it got a lot better later after we had left.
Of course. Well, and I think there was so much going on because, and I don't remember if I told you this or not, but I was working as assistant for Doug Mankey and Pat Gleason.
Yes.
And so they were drawing all the Green Lantern and the Lantern Corps books, and like Doug's book was opposite Ivan's, and like I just lost his name. The Jeff Johns, like those scripts were coming in, all that Black Lantern stuff, and then I mean that was huge. Those books were like. That was the biggest thing that hit at DC in a long time.
Oh, yes.
The expanding of the lanterns and all the different colored lanterns and the Black Lanterns and the undead stuff. Like, that was a massive hit. So
I imagine Doug knew that because I know Doug was could get a little slow on the pages. You'd see three or four inkers on a book. I imagine he wanted to have a death grip on all of that stuff though.
Oh yeah.
Because they reprint, they still, like, if I get my quarterly
all those commissions on those trade paperbacks.
Yeah, the quarterly royalty, the highest number is always some omnibus of the Blackest Lantern stuff again, or Green Lantern again. They reprint those books over and over and over.
And it wasn't there weren't multiple inkers on there because Doug was slow. Doug cranked, and Doug did an amazing job on that.
They
But
just
he
couldn't keep up.
cranked through scripts.
Oh, you're waiting on scripts because Jeff was
Oh.
also like creative director and stuff.
Jeff was writing everything, and like Jeff was throwing his soul into it, and those scripts would come in late, and like I mean, those guys were turning those books around, and
As
then
fast as-
it was multiple inkers to save deadline. I can only imagine the inkers and the colorists like get it done,
Burn out.
get it done, because there's no
Yeah.
time.
Because I helped out even before I got on Green Lantern. I would help out every once in a while. They would shoot me a couple of pages
Yeah.
and be like, "Hey, we got it. We need these by Monday." And I'd be like, "Okay." I'm like, "Great." My first time I get the ink.
I was drawing backgrounds galore.
Yeah. Oh, dude, there's so many
border
backgrounds.
boxes. I was so excited because, I mean, this might have been before. Oh, what was the one right before that where it was like Dark Side, and it was the multiverse thing.
Was that the New God story where Batman is killed? Killing
the story
Apocalypse?
where Batman gets
Or
killed
Darkseid?
because a different artist started it.
Yeah.
J.G. Jones started it. And then-
Yeah.
Yeah, you know that story.
Well, I
we're
just know
getting
J.J.
way
Jones.
off topic into the weeds here.
If
Sorry,
J.J.
guys.
Jones starts something, he never finishes something because he's a fireman,
Yeah.
right?
Well, Doug took over the book, but I remember I got to draw like Captain Carrot and like some of the panels in the multiverse storyline.
You know, and people told me because that story really petered out and was like a mess, but people said that the original script that was a Grant Morrison script, right?
Yeah, Grant Morrison. Yeah,
That it was amazing, but
I'm
because
sure it was.
it was so dense and had so much stuff in it.
Which
and
comic
then-
are you talking about?
It would. Oh, what was it? It was Infinite. Wasn't Infinite Crisis?
but it was with Batman and Darkseid, and that's when
Yeah,
Batman
it was
dies.
a storyline where Darkseid. God, this stuff.
Does it-
This is like 20 years ago now.
Does Batman?
This-
Does he kill Darkseid with a bullet that also kills him or something? Or is
Yeah,
that-
like Batman has a bullet and a gun that will kill
Yeah, the
Darkseid.
Godfather. This
Yeah.
was the JLA. Yeah, this was around 2005. If I
Yeah,
Yes, because I was seeing the tail end of that stuff, 2006-07 when I was at DC.
because there's a cover where Doug it has Superman holding Batman's corpse, and he's like all skeletal, but it's still in
Yep.
the Batman costume.
Yeah,
I
that was
totally-
actually that was before I actually started getting regular work at DC. I remember just seeing that stuff as a fan.
I can only
Yeah.
guess how much he sold that cover for. That was one of those epic covers that people
Yeah.
remember.
yeah,
Mhm.
I remember.
So, anyways, to get
Oh.
off topic.
No, I was enjoying two comic pros talking shop. I don't get to see
Behind the scene, that was the thing. It was like deadline. It's deadline. Like this book should have been done last week, and all that kind of.
Like, they had so much pressure on them for DC 52, and then the Rebirth. Rebirth had even more pressure on them.
Yeah,
A writer would turn in a script. He would wait 3 weeks he'd get edits from a council of editors at DC. Then they'd send the script back to him, and then the editor, depending on how pissed off he was with all the changes, would have to redo the script, and then it would finally get to the penciler. So instead of it taking like a couple of weeks to get a script from a writer, it would take like a month and a half. I
Yeah.
remember all that stuff. Like they were saying, first issues like this is trash. You have to rewrite the whole thing. This doesn't make any sense for what we want to do. Like everything was so far behind on the schedule because it was editorial by council on
Yeah.
all those
Oh,
first issues.
and
It was
this is what like the normal fan or just even a comic creator doesn't think about is all that arguing in the front part of figuring out what the story is eating up all the production time on the back end.
Yes.
And so
Yep.
maybe the penciler gets the script late and has to rush through it, but the penciler's still going to get enough time. Who's not going to get the time is the inker
And the
then
colors.
colorist. The colorist is like okay, here's 17 pages. I need them tomorrow. You know, like
colors were
color.
get totally jammed up. They got jammed up on, and that's why I think a lot of that DC, that Rebirth stuff. The penciler would do 2 issues, and then there was a fill-in guy already.
Yeah,
because they screwed the deadline so bad.
They burnt all their lead time, and I wonder how much of that stuff is happening now, because DC, like, I'm just out of touch with the recent stuff. I don't know. Have they had any big events recently?
That's all they do now.
Is
big event after big event.
Just big
They
event.
did that Batman metal. I noped out of Marvel and DC in 2015, so I honestly couldn't tell you what's going on.
Yeah, metal. I remember metal. That was all the Capullo covers, and they were like rock. Mm-hmm. They had like guitars and stuff.
Thinking Critical talks about how now DC is any writer who starts to get momentum on a book, the horrible big event takes over, and then that just destroys the momentum of the book and the story, and it usually changes the character, and then the writer goes off to something else. Yeah. So every book gets trashed again and again and again because of those events, and they can't get a foothold now.
They can't.
I've been hearing this for 20 years that these company-wide events are just ruining the. You know what? Do it like the Secret Wars did. Have it its own. Batman Metal is a Batman Metal comic, and you know what I mean. And that way, if I want it, I'll buy it. But you know,
it doesn't need to affect the main book. Like you can,
but it's corporate think.
It is.
Corporate think is to connect everything, so they think that all the fans will buy everything. You're like, dude, fans are buying nothing, so you need to just let the fans buy what they like.
Look at us. We're making comic books because we freaking love the comics. And I don't know about you guys. I just ordered my comics today. Not one Marvel, not one DC. You know, but I'm still buying comics every month. You know, so corporate, come on. You know, you're killing it.
The corporate mentality.
Canceling and restarting. I would love to see like a Wolfman Perez run that lasts 36 issues, or a Walt Simonson. You know, with his vision. You know, you don't see runs anymore. You see,
this is why that doesn't happen, and those two things tie together. Is these editors, first of all, they don't know real talent. They don't know writing talent, and they don't know art talent. And so instead of like being confident in the editor, confident in themselves, finding talent to put on the book to make it sell, they take the easy route out, like, let's tie everything into a big crossover. All the books will be tied together. It'll boost sales across the board. And then then it covers my ass because I don't know what's going to make this book sell. But if I tie it into everything else, then I'm at least covered.
If sales dip,
weak editors,
it's not their fault.
Yep, it's weak editors.
How many years of data have we got? We could gather data now. Like, what was the last real company-wide crossover that was a success?
But the editors they're not even making the effort to look at that research. They're just looking to cover their job.
Well, you think an accountant would do that research, you know what I mean? And tell the editors, listen, these company-wide crossovers aren't doing what we think.
They know it, but a couple of the issues will spike. When the sales are so bad, it's easy to get a spike. And so what happens is they get the spike, and then it drops even lower, and then they got to get that spike again. It's why they have to keep relaunching universes. They're like, oh no, we got to get that big push again. Like if you're going downhill on an icy road and you hit the brakes and it slows you down, but it also puts you into a spin, but you know that it did slow you down a little bit. And then you got to do it again, and it's going to spin you again, but you're like, I'm a little slow. Like it can't stop. Yeah. Like it's the corporate, and everyone is just literally like, I just want to keep my job just a little bit longer so I can get my resume out to all the book publishers, because none of them want to edit comic books in the first place. So it's a constant.
Normally, but back in the day when we were all reading comics in the 80s and 90s, the editors that were running comics were guys like us that were lifelong fans that have been comics their whole life, had a passion for it, knew all the history. The editors, not everyone, but the majority of editors today they don't know any comics past the last 5 years. They don't know the Marvel Universe past the movies. Same with the DCU. They know the movies. They have no passion for comics. They have no sense of the history of the artists, the writers. So it's just gotten so diluted. And I mean, as a guy who is making his living doing indie comics, keep DC and Marvel, keep doing what you're doing, because all you're doing is sending more fans our direction. Like the fans out there are starving for like good
Yes,
comics
you're
written by
absolutely
creators and drawn by creators that care about what they're doing in comics. And I mean, that's kind of what Comicsgate has been built on. So
You're absolutely right. I'm a construction worker, so
Yep.
and I go to work and I tell guys I'm making a comic book. These guys get excited. Everyone, oh, I used to love comic books, and
Yep.
I go into a store with my kid, and now they're all gay and they're all transgender. Or Captain America's not Captain America now. He hates America. He's a Nazi.
Yeah.
But they all love comics. So, I had to print up cards. Because when I start explaining to people, oh, you go to this website, you go to www, they don't even know how to buy my comics. So I was like, so today I was at a family barbecue handing out cards because everybody loves comic books, everybody loves superheroes, but everybody's like, first off, there's no comic book stores anymore, and second off, they go into the comic book store, they're like, oh, I want to get a Thor comic. Well, Thor's a woman with cancer now, and they're like,
No.
I'm not going to buy a comic book anymore. The real Superman took off, and his bisexual Twinkie son with a rainbow cape is Superman now. Like, I don't want to buy that.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with it. I got to do the same, but that's not Superman.
And the thing is, it's like the new Star Wars that came out, the new Star Wars Disney Plus thing. It's like, it's fine. You're gay. That's fine. You're a lesbian. It's fine. Like, nobody cares. Nobody hates you. There's no homophobia. There's no hate towards you. But I dislike that you're ruining Star Wars for everyone else because you guys think that your message is so important that you're ruining sci-fi, you're ruining comics, because there is no story.
It's messaging.
There is no entertainment. You're just like, it's Gay Pride Month in comics. It's Gay Pride Month in Star Wars. It's Gay Pride Month in Star Trek.
But it's Gay Pride year.
Yeah.
DC has a
But
when it comes to Star Wars, I turn it to Monty Python. The number of the movies is 3, and 3 shall be the number of the movies.
Yes.
That's it. There's 3 Star Wars movies.
Keep your gay pride to your parades. You got your parades. Don't ruin Star Trek. Don't ruin Star Wars, and don't ruin comic books.
Yeah.
Don't ruin video games.
Doctor Who, Warhammer.
There's no hate. It's just like, quit ruining everything.
I had to learn to watch TV now with my finger next to the fast forward button.
Oh,
whatever. Yeah. Like I force myself because I love Star Trek and I love big budget CGI extravaganzas. So I knew, here's a scene on Discovery Star Trek. These characters, all they do is talk about their feelings. Fast forward to the next scene. Oh, I see space stuff again. Hit play. And it's the same with Netflix. Netflix with the programming for Gen Zer, where I'm literally watching 2 teenage boys talk about their feelings, and I'm like, well, who the fuck is this for? They're not talking about their feelings. They're going to talk shit to each other while they're playing basketball. Now,
when it comes to Star Wars, the only feelings is hate leads to anger, anger leads to fear, and fear leads to the dark side.
Yes,
that's
it. And don't be too scared, because if you're scared, fear will get you down to that same path. And Star Wars we have that from Marvel. We have Winter Soldier, who looks so much like Luke, but we don't have a Luke Skywalker movie with him playing Luke Skywalker.
I think they were talking about it because, man, does he look like the young Luke Skywalker?
He looks better than Mark Hamill.
Yes, because he's in shape. Mark Hamill was never in shape. Yeah.
I
He
just
was-
saw a clip somewhere. I don't know if it was TikTok or Twitter. It was Mark Hamill in his next movie right after Star Wars, Corvette Summer.
I saw that. I think I was the only person to see that in the movie theaters.
I didn't see it in a movie theater, but I remember seeing it when I was young.
Yeah,
I
And
never
I was
did.
like, oh my God, Mark Hamill's in this. Luke Skywalker's in this. I got to watch this. And I'm like, what is it? It was like a high school auto shop fixing up a Corvette for their project, their summer project or something. And then doesn't like somebody break in and wreck it? And then there's
I remember he got into a bad accident making that movie, and that's
that's where he got the scar from, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's why he looked so wacky in the Christmas special. Is he just had the plastic surgery?
Oh,
Not
okay.
the cocaine.
Not the cocaine.
I like what David says over here. Well, I don't like what he says, but you know, it's a shame the X-Men showrunner got cut off after season 1. Now it's back to the wacky.
What's
I
he
did-
talking about? What
The X-Men
the
97
cartoon.
I
Oh.
didn't watch it because I knew they were going to be pulling a fast one on it. I've adopted a policy of wait and see. Like I'm not watching
Yeah.
House of the Dragon because I got burnt so bad on Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I'll wait. You know,
Yeah.
I got no problem. I got a lot of movies that I still haven't watched. I got comics I still haven't. So I'll wait. You know, but
Yeah, X-Men 97 sounds like it's the real deal for fans. And then the showrunner who got fired, he actually plotted out the second season too. So as long as they don't divert too much from his stuff. But I'm guessing whoever they go to next after this guy, it's going to go down the tubes. And literally, part of me feels that part of why he got fired is because he stuck to the source material more than Disney was comfortable with. They wanted to inject their whatever DEI ideas into X-Men. And he's like, no. I've got all the comics right here. I got all the reference. Like
I got all the
to the
comics.
source material. And it was shocking. The fans loved that he stuck to the source materials.
so I don't know. So let's talk about your comic, Clint.
Sure. You bet.
I'm going to bring this up here. Here we
yeah,
go.
there we
Pirate
go.
Queen versus Slave Girl.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice,
So,
nice,
five
wholesome
hours.
family entertainment.
Yep, just 5 hours left. First 30 days closes out tonight. That also means the end of the secret discount reward. So get it while you can. Links in the chat, I believe. But this is the epic conclusion to the Pirate Queen saga. I've got 2 Pirate Queen books out previous to this, and then also a Slave Girl book out to this. So Pirate Queen book 1 and 2 and Slave Girl book 1. They are also available in here when you're checking out. You can put them in as add-ons if you missed any of the books along the way. But it's the complete storyline of the Pirate Queen and then Slave Girl's entrance into the storyline. But
you know, we were talking before we went live how like my comic is more wholesome and everything like that. But, I still love this. I love your artwork.
Thank you.
Artwork
No, I appreciate it.
and then story keeps me. You know what I mean? You could have the most beautiful artwork in the world, but if the story is dull, I tend to wander away. But I love your. The only way I could describe it is like clean, classic superhero comic book artwork. You know, again, I love that Superiors and where you goofed on the Crisis in Earth. That was my favorite.
And when I'm creating and when I'm writing these books, like I'm writing this to guys like us. Like I'm not writing these
guys that
comics
like
with,
good looking sexy women.
yeah,
Weirdo.
like I'm not writing this book for 13-year-old kids. I'm writing this book for like basically 25 and older, lifelong comic book fans. So the superhero stuff, I try to make it edgy. The hot babe stuff, I make it sexy, make it adult, like what you would see on like Conan the Barbarian, the old magazines. Like there's nudity, there's adult language.
Yeah, I would say it's R-rated. It's not.
Yeah, these are comics for grown-ups, and that's kind of where I start out from with the storyline because, I'm not in a comic book shop. I'm not selling to like 12-year-old kids. I'm selling to like 35, 45, 55, 65-year-old guys. So I think those guys can handle my material. It's not too bad. But
Would it be safe to describe this as like you remember Skinamax when we were in high
yeah,
school?
exactly.
Okay, all right.
Skinamax with just a little bit less story, if that's possible. But
I gotta say, you got like a Scott Campbell.
yeah, like I like to mix it up with like I like to mimic certain artists that I'm fans of. I like to mimic their styles. So like definitely on this page, this cover right here, I'm trying to imitate J. Scott Campbell's look for sure.
Yeah, this is reminiscent of Danger Girl right here.
Yeah, like I've gotten pretty good at mimicking different styles. Like J. Scott Campbell, I can do. Alan Davis, I can do. There's like I try to do Jim Lee, but I can never get close enough to make it look like Jim Lee. My Jim Lee always looks a little bit watered down. But there's certain artists that I'm just huge fan of, so I like studied their work so much that like yeah, some of these variant covers I try to mimic the style. Like this is,
and I love the old school dressing. I just love.
This is me trying to like homage the Jim Lee's X-Men cover where it's Wolverine versus Gambit. So I'm trying to kind of capture that look with the coloring and yeah, the trade dress and all of that stuff. So
I love the trade. You know.
Yeah. No, I have a ton of fun doing that stuff and like people like, oh, it's nostalgia or whatever, and it's like, yeah, I don't care. Comics are full of nostalgia. Like, you know, some people love nostalgia. If you don't like it, you don't have to buy it. This is anti-nostalgia. This is my artwork. But then I had a guy who was messing around with the AI programs, and he like ran some of my artwork through the AI and showed me what he could do. So this is my artwork ran through the AI with like kind of a painted finish. And this is like an experiment because I've never messed around with any of this stuff before. But I just wanted to see what people would think of it. I think it turned out really neat looking. So this will be an experiment to see how well it does. It seems to be really popular. So this was kind of a trial run on this campaign. But then this is back to just traditional stuff here. Me drawing gigantic, as big a boobs, as big a this. My whole point on this cover was to draw as big a boobs as I possibly could. So
good
Rob
job.
likes them.
Oh yeah,
Rob likes them. That's all that matters to me.
Who you said you like to mimic? To me,
this is more just me here. Like I'm not really mimicking a style on this one. The one below this, I was kind of trying to shoot for like an Humberto Ramos kind of thing.
Because that reminds me of Terry Dodson. That
Oh yeah, that I do try to do like an Adam Hughes, Terry Dodson kind of thing, but that's not really what I was shooting for on this one. This I was trying to do that more kind of cartoony Humberto Ramos thing, or like Joe Mad kind of thing, like the girl in the pink hair. I was trying to kind of make her look like
I was going to say it's a more
Monica.
cartoony Joe Mad,
yeah. So like I'm always kind of messing around with styles just to have some kind of fun with stuff, but. And then this is another cover that I did that he did the AI painting over, and I really love the way like some of the stuff turned out on this stuff. It's just like that finished painting look is kind of cool on it.
These women have back problems.
What's that?
Oh,
do any of these women have back problems
later in life? later in life, but at that point, I'm not really interested in them anymore, anyways.
But they're in space and there's no gravity.
Zero gravity. It lifts them up, and I mean,
that's what the gym is for. The gym is for.
Once they start complaining about their lower back problems and how big their boobs are, it's like it's time to move on, anyways. So.
Oh God,
that's rough, dude. That's
honey. I don't know this guy. He just popped in.
I probably should have warned you that I don't like.
I'm goofing on you. I knew what I was in for.
My friends' wives, they love me. Oh wait, all of my friends are divorced. Never mind.
Oh.
But again, I had mentioned earlier that here's the covers for Pirate Queens Book 1 and 2 and Slave Girl Book 1. So again, if you did miss any of these books, which it's always hard to get all the books and all the different campaigns, I do have all of the books, and like literally the storyline runs from book 1 to book 2 to Slave Girl book 1. Slave Girl book 1 ends on a cliffhanger that leads directly into Slave Girl versus Pirate Queen.
Ooh.
And it's humorous with a little parody and nods.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like
So-
I make a ton of fun of Star Wars and Star Trek and all the sci-fi tropes, but there is like an action adventure story throughout the book. It's just the humor is laced in with everything, and like I have a hard time taking anything too seriously. So I like to have my action adventure. I like to have my TNA, but I also like to have my fun, my joke, whatever. So
yeah.
So it kind of covers.
I got them all. It's a fun series.
Yeah.
Again, you're not Alan Moore writing.
No, this is not. This is not the pirate backstory in Alan Moore's Watchmen, where he's washed up on shore and he's become one of the zombie like figures that he was trying to fight off. It's like, no, not that deep. It's just hot chicks fighting in space. So
yeah.
And some examples of the interior pages here. So this is the first few interior pages from the book. So it's 48 pages, full color, action adventure, and a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun working on it.
And you write, you draw, do you ink, do you color?
I do all of it now. I figured out how I can do all of it. Like write, pencil, ink, color, letter, send it to the printer, and then ship it out. I do all of that stuff.
I do love your art. It's
Thank you.
Classic superhero art that I just enjoy. It's very clean. You could tell that you've been a fan of comics your whole life.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. So it's been a treat working on this. The book is, I think I have 32 of the 48 pages finished. So this book is going to be done this summer and hopefully shipping by the end of summer. I had a little bit of a delay with, like, I had planned on having Maidens of Mayhem be shipping already. My printer, Greco, apparently has moved to a bigger facility and it's kind of delayed some of their printing. And I've kind of been going back and forth with them to find out when my books are going to be getting to me, because I really
with a few people I heard.
Yeah, Greco, and I get they're expanding and that that causes some issues, and they've been really good to me, so I'm not really complaining about too much. It's just that,
but you've been consistent.
Yeah. And the thing is I would like backers to be getting Maidens of Mayhem right now, so they're showing that they got their books. Because there's always people worried about how long is this project coming out? Is it gonna,
Yeah.
And so I like to keep those books coming out so people know they're getting their books from me on time. So there's been a slight delay with Maidens of Mayhem. I'm hoping to get it in the next. I'm hoping that within the next 2 weeks I'll have books and start. And as soon as I get them, I'm shipping them out. So I definitely want people to be getting their last books from me while I'm running the campaign for this one. So
yeah,
but those things, they pop up. You can never predict what the future is. So
I mean, people, I hate to say it, but people kind of expect lateness with this campaign.
Yeah,
but
and that's what I try to avoid. But yeah, it happens. Yeah.
Yeah, but it sounds like your communication's been fine, and I back your stuff, and I didn't even notice it was late, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I'm a weirdo.
If some of my realistically, and if any of my books have been late, it's been a month or two.
That's not even late.
Yeah, not really. So
excuse me.
Yeah. So here I'll scroll up to the top here and we can play the video.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I'll make it bigger. Cool. What
I don't
one thing
know.
I like is this sci-fi, this fantasy, and superheroes sometimes within the same comic.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind. I would say this is a heavy blend of sci-fi and fantasy. Um, Very much like the Star Wars kind of genre. Like Star Wars is sci-fi, but if you look at it, it's not like very technical. It's like there's a lot of fantasy elements into Star Wars, where like Star Trek is a lot more technical.
Yeah, I always said
I would,
Star Wars was science fantasy and Star Trek was sci-fi.
yeah, exactly. I would say that's a pretty good way I would describe it. So yeah, so 30-day campaign ends tonight. The links in the chat will give you access to the secret discount reward tiers. Gets you everything, saves you $60 off the regular price. But check out the other reward tiers. I've got different variant covers, lots of different rewards, so you can look through them and check out what you are interested in. Want to make sure that everything is available to everybody. So. Definitely check it out if you haven't had a chance yet.
Clint, I can't believe that you didn't name your company BTC. Big
VT
Titty. BTC. Big
Oh,
Titty
BTC.
Comics.
Big Titty Comics. I did. You know why I did Mayhem is because I love doing the old trade dress of the Marvel stuff, and Mayhem fits perfectly in where Marvel would. And so I can do the banner across. I can do the corner boxes. That's really the only reason I ended up making it Mayhem. So
just because of that.
But if you look
awesome.
here, let's see if I can pull it up here. If you look at, let's see, yeah, here we go. It's approved by the Comics Expo. So that falls in a little bit more in line with what you're talking about, Rob. Because yeah, look at that trade dress. It's like,
yeah, I love it. I love the trade dress.
And like the faces over on the left in the little picture box. I was trying to do a little John Byrne there.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at like some Sue Storm and some Jean Grey and like how he spaces the eyes out, because like, I mean, the eyes are really wide when John would draw those girls, and they'd have those big, blue saucer like eyes, which like just me drawing naturally doesn't work. So I was really breaking down what he does. But I love, like you were talking about earlier, the trade dress on the books, just kind of give it that fun retro feel. So like that's half the fun when I'm laying out these comics, is just kind of messing with the logos and with the fonts and what kind of retro kind of stuff I can give it a look for. So
I noticed you got under it where it says 1 Feb and then there's numbers. Does that number mean anything, or is that just
sometimes it does? Sometimes I'm using something I built for another comic and I'm just running out of time and I slap it in there.
69 cents.
Yeah, it's always usually 69 cents. But yeah, like sometimes when I know the date I'm most likely going to deliver the book, I'll put that.
Oh yeah, it is a date. Okay, yeah, I see it's a date. I thought, because the old Marvel comics, I'm trying to see.
Yeah,
they did have a number that I never actually understood, like what that number was.
Usually mine is the date, but it doesn't always hold true, because sometimes I'll be just grabbing, because I've got all this stuff saved in files and I'll just need to slap something on a cover and I don't have time to go back and change it. So the date might not have anything to do with them when the actual book is
I love the blue line. You know what I mean? It's yeah. I we'll bring up my campaign a little bit later, and
for sure.
I wanted the corner box, and I wanted a line up on top, just the same thing. I just like, because to me that's the way comic books are supposed to look.
Exactly. Yeah, we all grew up on that.
I feel guilty now. I haven't even touched the trade dress on Death Raider.
Oh, let's bring up Death Raider.
All I've done is the title, and I have to redo that because of a hard drive dying.
No.
Yes, like last fall, and I realized I'll have to redo the title because I don't have that file anymore.
So,
do you have a campaign that you want to bring up?
I can't bring it up on my iPad.
Okay.
Oh, here, hold on. I can
Oh, you'll
pull
do it?
up. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you, Clint.
Yep, no problem.
Let's look at Death Raider. Yeah.
Give me 1 second
Yeah,
here.
sure. So, Rob, you don't work anymore with Marvel or DC? You're all on your own now?
I had a lot of fun working at DC until I didn't have a lot of fun working at DC. It really had turned into like every project was cooler than the last, and as you rise that hill, like, oh wow, I get to do this, I get to I always having those editors always offer me like, hey, you want to do 3 pages of Superman, you want a couple pages of Batman, and I'm like, okay, this is getting awesome, this is fun. And then all of a sudden, at some point, I realized I was going down the hill. Like each project was less inspiring to work on than the last.
No.
And I was like, I started to you start to get that vibe. Like, I remember at one point they kept signing me to exclusive contracts, but the last one I had signed, I was like, I almost feel like they're signing me up, but I was shocked that they even asked me to sign another contract because of just the inconsistency of work and things of that nature. But I was like, hey, let's go. Let's do another contract.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they didn't actually honor that even close to it. So, but I ended up getting a nice, sorry, we didn't honor the contract check.
I was going to say, because you're guaranteed a certain amount of work, right?
No, it's
Oh,
not.
really?
No,
Okay.
no. Well, I imagine you could probably, if you're somebody, you could have that into your contract. But
Yeah.
can you imagine as an inker having a guarantee of page count every month? You know what would happen? It would be week 3. I hadn't seen any work, and all of a sudden they would send me 20 pages of
Just
some
drop. Yep.
piece of crap book that was super far behind or something, and go, you got a week to do it.
Yeah. No, and that's exactly what would happen. And you'd be hating what you're working on and not happy with how it's turning out.
Yeah.
And then they would use that again to get rid of you or not re-sign you. It's like, oh, you kind of churned this out. It's like, maybe 3 days saying 15 pages.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. They either use it against you, or they would just use it against you, or you would just use it against them as just being so unhappy about it. So,
there was a point in my life that my dream was to work for Marvel and DC, and now, if the Wizards came and give me a wish, that wouldn't even be an option anymore.
No, and it was me too. I dreamed of, and I mean, I got to work at DC. I got to draw the whole Justice League in one story. So I got to draw Superman. I got to draw Batman. I got to draw Wonder Woman, the Flash, Green Lantern, all of them. But it was one story, and that was kind of my claim to fame. And I didn't work for DC after that. Never worked for Marvel. I think I did some like original art trading cards for Marvel.
What issue of the Justice League did you draw?
It was one of those 80-page giants where they kind of like the 10-page stories where they try out a bunch of new artists. I broke in on that. So it was awesome. I got to draw characters that I loved. I got to draw Superman, which is my dream.
Yeah.
But the business is not, and I was breaking in at like probably the worst time to break in at, and I still worked consistently for 20 years here for smaller publishers, but not at Marvel and DC. But the thing is now, like, I know plenty of people working at Marvel and DC. I know what their rates are. I know what they're making. I make more doing what I'm doing than I would work for a month on a monthly book at Marvel or DC right now.
I haven't given up on Marvel and DC yet, but it would be such a difficult conversation. I think the contract, I would be having a contract conversation that would take so long. Like it literally would be like, well, I have to plot it. It has to be this character. It has to be these villains. It has to, like it literally would be like, I would have to do all these. There would have to be all these stipulations. Otherwise, I'd be like, no, I can't do any of this. Which is, look at what Mark Silvestri he came back for Batman and the Joker story, but I bet he had a lot of stipulations, and he's been drawing that for years. And I think that's the only way they can get anybody back. No one's going to just say, "Oh, sure, yeah, I'll start penciling for you guys again." I don't think anybody who's left would ever come back to just.
Chuck Dixon, when he was on my channel, I asked him if he would go back. He goes, I couldn't afford the pay cut.
Yeah, no, that's 100% right. Yeah.
Well, this is Chuck. This is Chuck, whose Levon Cade movie just finished, just wrapped up principal photography, and he's written 13 of those novels. So if the movie takes off,
really? Oh,
Yes.
okay. I didn't know. I hadn't heard about that yet.
Yeah, produced by Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, it's Jason Statham is he's playing Levon Cade. So
yeah,
and these are novels that Chuck wrote.
Yeah.
Oh, good for him.
He got his Punisher, itch scratched by writing these Levon Cade books. So he's in control of it. It's his property and everything. And he struck up a friendship with Sylvester Stallone. He said Sylvester Stallone hired him to work on Expendables scripts.
Yep. Oh.
Flew out to Hollywood. They talked, and they went to talk to the producers, and they asked Chuck Dixon a question, and Chuck goes, he doesn't know the procedures, he doesn't know the manners and the way. So he just started talking. This is how I feel. This is what we should do, and everything. And Sylvester thought it was the funniest thing because he wasn't a yes man. He was supposed to say, "Oh yes, what you guys thought," but Chuck was like, "No, not that. You got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do that." And then they're like, "Thank you," and escorted him out the door. And Chuck never forgot him. And then, Sylvester never forgot him, and then hired him. And now he says like they talk on the phone and chit chat and stuff.
Oh, that's fantastic!
Yeah. And now it's paying off. Now Sylvester's producing his books, his novels.
That is awesome, and that is the difference between working at Marvel and DC and working on your own. Because you never know, that is a 1 in a million shot with Chuck and Sylvester Stallone, but you never know when you're gonna that stuff is gonna pop into your world. And obviously he's been working in the industry for a long time, but you never know when all of a sudden you're gonna be having your books out and somebody reads them and it's like, oh yeah, this is a cool concept.
Well,
that's never going to happen for you at Marvel or DC because you're never going to see.
Well, why would I go to DC and Marvel and give them a unique character and stuff like that, and then
exactly,
and I get nothing, Yeah.
Well,
Marvel gives nothing, but I know DC gives. I know Chuck and Graham Nolan still get money from Bane and things like that, but Marvel doesn't. They're under no obligation to pay you for original characters.
Well, Chuck he shared the story that Sylvester and Jason Statham were on vacation, and Jason likes to work all the time. And Jason said, he goes, "Man, I need a new franchise to keep doing movies, keep the schedule rolling." And that's when Sylvester said, "Hey, well, I've got this series of books that a buddy of mine's writing, and I think it would be perfect. You'd be perfect as the main lead in it." And that's how it went. Jason read the book and loved it, and boom, they just finished the movie.
So that is awesome.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. Chuck thinks that Sylvester just got a kick out of that Chuck didn't kiss anybody's ass.
Yeah, I'm sure. I bet. I'm sure that's 100% how it went down.
And he said, and Chuck was like, I'm flying back on that one really well. That's really great. I didn't even realize he did the worst possible thing. What do you mean?
That's hilarious.
Yeah. He was supposed to echo what the producers wanted.
Right, exactly.
And he did. He goes,
little yes man.
Yes. Yep. And Chuck goes, "Well, that's a great idea, but I think you should do it this way." And
exactly.
Sylvester's laughing his ass off.
Now, Chuck had nothing to do with Beekeeper. These are going to be Levon Cade now. Chuck has a series of Levon Cade. That's like his urban vigilante stories.
Oh, okay.
And they're being filmed into movies. And this first one with Jason Statham, if it's successful, there's 13 novels, and I think he's about to put out his 14th novel. Haven't read. I got to read. I've been getting a lot of Chuck Dixon's novels. So,
have you read Bad Times yet?
No, I want to read.
Oh, dude,
I got his the cowboy novels, the Snakehead and the Woman Cowboy. I got Shrinkage, which is about shoplifting.
Bad Times is incredible. It's a time. it's a time
traveling soldiers,
story.
right?
Soldiers, yes.
Yeah, that's right up my alley. I got to read that.
It's awesome. It's really great the way he especially that first book just kicks so much ass.
Oh, I gotta check these out.
He says he doesn't want to write. He says he's not allowed to write them because he says as he writes he gets into it, and his wife gets mad at him when he's writing time travel. She's like, I don't have to write time travel anymore.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So let's we're selling Chuck Dixon over here, but you got to.
I'll scroll through and let you talk, Rob.
All right. Well, why don't we just play the trailer first, please?
You bet.
I'll make that big.
So Death Raider is my ode to my two favorite characters, and that's Iron Man and Wolverine.
Oh, cool.
So, and then there's a little bit of Ghost Rider with the skull mask, because I think the skull motif works out so well. But it's I've got multiple different covers depending on people's taste and what they want to see out of the cover.
Awesome.
That's the cheesecake cover that people were asking for, and Anna's one of the main characters. But Death Raider he's a Marsoc Marine who gets critically injured in an ambush. His team gets killed. He gets his legs blown off. But in the same explosion that takes his legs, it also gives him some insight into some alien knowledge. And because of it, he goes from being a Marsoc Marine to a guy building out it's a pseudo Iron Man meets Wolverine armor suit. And he needs to use that to fight off. There's a team of cyborgs that is chasing him called the Reapers. And he finds out about an alien infiltration by an alien empire called the Raycors. So he needs the suit just to keep ahead of all of his enemies. The enemies keep popping up because of what he can do and what he can build.
That looks awesome. I always get a little embarrassed when I have a guest on my channel and I don't know their comics, so forgive me. But
oh no problem at all, man. It's
even somebody like me that's totally into this stuff, things go under my radar. But this looks awesome.
Thank you very much.
You write. I can't even speak. You write, you draw, you do everything for this.
I'm having to do everything on it. It's story, pencils, inks, and it's gray marker, and then it's the black ink, and then it's white ink, and then it's the digital color. But obviously, I have a black and white version because a lot of people really steer into the black and white of the artwork, which I can understand. I was going through Renzo's artwork for my comic, all the black and whites. I just wanted to make sure that I had all the pages, and I'm like, this black and white is just so beautiful. So I was thinking of maybe asking if anybody wanted a black and white version, Well, it's really difficult because even as I color my stuff, I realize either I'm enchanted with the color effects and the coloring I do over it.
Yeah, that looks awesome.
Or I'm enchanted with, I can still see all the detail. Like I haven't hit that nice medium where I get to see all the detail of all the hard work I put into the pencils and inks and gray marker. Or I can do really cool color effects, but then I lose some of the artwork. Now these early pages, I had for the preview, I had Pixel Tool do the colors. So there is a little bit of a color change from what he did to what I did, but mostly it's because I pull back on the color a little bit to show
wow,
off
look at
the
that.
show off the detail.
The detail in that black and white is awesome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So
wow, that is really good.
Yeah, there are times where, I've done some color pages. Well, I'm coloring most of the book, and I look at it and go,
now, why would people want her on the cover? I don't understand.
Well, when I was putting the project together, I'm like, I need a badass dude. I'm a fan of like SEAL Team. I'm a fan of the Navy SEAL type movies. But I'm a big superhero fan. But I'm like, I need a hot chick in the book. At first it was going to be a sister, or then it was going to be a neighbor that he knows. And then as I started to put the story together, I'm like, okay, it's going to be like a Black Widow super spy type of character. And that just kind of allowed that character to come along on the adventure and not just be like, the comic
like
relief.
You should have made her pretty looking like Lizzo or somebody like that.
Yeah. I am a comic book artist, so I'm pretty superficial when it comes to looks.
Rob, you're going to go back and clean up that line that crosses the border, right?
Well, of course. I actually, Pixel, he actually colored these 2 pages, but I actually lost those files.
Oh, geez.
I will be getting both those pages for my flatter, and I will be coloring it. And while I color it, I have caught myself doing a little bit of cleanup on the black and white artwork.
So. I'm always doing that, especially when it's digital.
Mm-hmm.
You just there's just stuff you go back in and you can touch it up.
Yeah, you can't help it. I try not to do it a lot, and then I'm also doing some color effects where doing a little erase on the black layer, and then I kick back into the color layers. So, but there's stretch goals. There's stretch goals that we're closing in on that $26,000 stretch goal, and it's a bunch of cool trading cards that I thought would be really, especially for my first book, trading cards that the main characters.
People love trading cards. When I told people I was having trading cards as stretch goals, people got excited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm finding trading cards are harder to draw than I expected because I spent so many years just working on full-size pages. I never worked on trading card artwork before. I go do too detailed, or I catch myself going, oh wait, I don't know how long to actually spend on a trading card.
Yeah,
and then you got to shrink it small, so all that detail is going to be. Look at that! That is awesome.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
I could see why you're having such a hard time between the color and the black.
yeah, because especially like you look at that and you go, it's at night, and I could go in and throw in some cool like color highlights in places. But then if I do that, then you might you're going to get lose some of that, the line weight, some of the lines, some of the gray stuff. So I've caught myself going, hey, look, I'm done. And then I go into the file and go, now lighten the color. And I'm like, I hope I'm not lightening it too much. But at the same time, I'm like, no, I'm still in love with the black and white artwork. So let's lighten everything that I just did.
Now, is this futuristic? Is this modern times? Or?
Oh, this is the time frame is 2032. My impression of the future is there's always going to be those technological advances. So you're going to see, you know how it is. Like there's $20,000, $30,000 night vision, but we can't afford it. We're still running around in our t-shirts and our jeans. So right. I wanted to mix the normal of what you see because of the economy of people are going to still clothing and whatever, but then you're going to see high tech and gadgets for that maybe only the military can afford or the super rich can afford. So it allows me to break all the rules I'd like. Yeah. While I'm putting the story and the artwork together. So
yeah, my comics. The first issue is set in 2024, same year as but we also got to take in consideration that we've had superhero geniuses that have increased technology. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
So it's 2024. It's 2024 in a world where people could defy gravity and super geniuses and evil mad scientists. That technology has come about.
I have subtle hints in the first issue of the aliens, the Raycors have slowly introduced some of their technology into society, so that without giving them, they don't want equals, but they're using the planet for their own benefit. But at the same time, it's always a two-way street. You gotta give up a little to get a little. So that's where some of the technological advances in the story.
So what do they want from us? I can only imagine
Exactly.
food.
Oh,
It's a cookbook.
it's a cookbook.
No,
It's they're looking to build super soldiers.
Oh, Zach Tan, always positive. He always comes by with like a positive. Just swinging by, blessed day. Yeah, the most positive guy on in comic book. Zach Tan.
Nice.
Thank you. So how long is this? More? How long? I can't even speak anymore, guys. I apologize. How much time is left on this campaign? How that was difficult.
Well, this campaign originally I wanted to be done in the fall. I have spent an entire year working on the black and white artwork. I finished the black and white artwork. I think around Christmas, early January, I finished the black and white artwork, and now it's just finishing out the colors and then the lettering, and then it ships. So it turned into a labor of love. So, and I
just looked you up just to see if you were shadow banned because you heard about came right up. You could just type in Death Raider.
Oh, that's awesome! Yeah, none of my books pop up.
I've been lucky that way.
That's the thing is, everybody, you need the direct link to find any of my comics on.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I thought shadow banning was over. And then
none of my books show up in the comic section. If you type in my name, nothing pops. If you type in my name, I think the only thing that pops up is Sea Dog and Codename Killswitch. But none of the Pirate Queen stuff pops up. None of the Blue Bombshell stuff pops up. None of the Superiors pops up. So
see, we were talking before we went live. That's why I launched my comic on Fun My Comic because I know the shenanigans. Yeah. I know that's the newest, and I know some people are hesitant, but I wanted to have a solid base, to go to Kickstarter and Indiegogo later. At least I know Fun My Comic isn't going to mess with me, and Luke has been. I can call him up, and problems have been solved, So I'm really happy that I was able to do $4,000 on Fun My Comic. First time guy, new format, new platform rather.
Terrific.
Yeah. Wow, you're up to 24,000. I'm looking at 542 backers. Nice.
Oh, thank you. It's been a year of push. So I'm trying, man.
Is this your only issue?
Yes. Yep. This is the first project I've done on my own. Before that, it was like DC, and then I worked for a company, Phenom Comics, and they did an Indiegogo project called Hunter Ninja Bear, where Chuck Dixon wrote it, I inked it, and Mel Ruby.
It's right there.
Yeah. See, there you go. So, and then after Phenom, I got the vibe on Phenom of just the way everything was going, that I better start working on my pencil. And I
just backed as we were talking.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I just got that vibe. I got that vibe. I just saw that if I couldn't rely on just Phenom to keep me busy, the way Marvel and DC were changing so much, I'm like, dude, there's not many opportunities for inkers left. I better get my ass in gear.
I would think all inkers are looking at trying to become pencilers at this point right now.
Mm-hmm,
because the thing is the way the page rates have dropped, all the pencilers are going to be like, well, I could probably ink myself.
Yeah, yep. Or they're planning on closing out their career, one or the other.
Yeah.
I mean, the comic industry in general is a very transitory type of field. there's so many guys that come and go. They
Yeah.
just they try it out for a while, realize that they're not going to make the living that they made in commercial art, so they
Yeah.
bop in and then they bop out, or they go to the video games. You know, they do a few things for a few years just so they can get their name out there, and
Like
then they
the
go
commercial art field isn't fun, but it's a regular paycheck. Is the thing.
pay. Yes, or the video game stuff can be fun.
The video
and
game
it-
stuff,
and
I'm
it'll-
sure is fun. That's probably more competitive than the comics is right now.
Well, it's
Oh
big.
yes.
Yeah, all the design stuff is
Mhm. But it pays great. So certain guys, I mean, think of it, Joe Mad. I imagine
Yeah,
Joe
he's
Mad.
been doing video games for 20 years now, since he left X-Men, and
Yep.
since he stopped doing Battle Chasers. So
Exactly. He's a guy who drops in for, you know, a cup of coffee into the comics,
Yeah.
and then away he goes again.
yeah, but
I forgot how bad
his
this
video
was.
game company must be making money because he's staying afloat. So
Yeah, he just brought back Battle Chasers, but he's not drawing it. So I was a little.
no,
disappointed.
he did a weird thing there where he like crowdfunded an issue, I think, saying he was going to draw it, and then when he brought it, then he's like bringing in one of his protege kind of people, and I mean the artist was good. It's just
It's
not
good
Joe
art.
Mad.
You know, but
Yeah, it's not Joe Mad.
I
You
wanted-
said it
I
was
wanted
Joe
his
Mad.
art.
It's kinda, I think he caught some heat for that. I would think from the fans.
yeah, I was a little disappointed, and I tend to buy too many comics, so it sat on a stack. I think it was 3 issues before I went to read it. I'm like, this isn't even his art.
Oh, dude,
You know what I mean?
that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, not cool when you're advertising it as something else and you're on the crowdfunding. So
Well, I remember the backups that they had on Battle Chasers because he wasn't doing full 20 pages. And that artist was interesting, but he was not Joe Mad. He wasn't even close to Joe Mad.
yeah, like there's been a few guys, and you see them out there on Twitter that like can mimic Joe Mad, but there's just something that's just not. Well, even like the Ed McGuinnesses or.
I love Ed McGuinness.
Yeah, I do too. But like Ed tried to do some Joe, like he tried to blend those things together, and it's just you're Ed McGuinness. Just be Ed McGuinness.
His Fantastic Four art with I think it was John Hickman was writing. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
You know, it
Trying
was
to
the
think
best.
who was
Like,
the other guy that tried to do Maduria. Oh, wasn't it Roger Cruz? Roger Cruz did.
Yeah, Roger Cruz was doing his version of Joe Mad for a while.
Yeah, there was a
Yeah.
few guys out there that tried to do Joe Mad through the years, and
I think his problem was he's doing Joe Mad, but he was doing it faster because he was a new talent, a foreign talent.
He was beating all the deadlines that Joe Mad couldn't hit, and he was
Yeah.
getting the pages.
Yeah,
It
so
took him a lot, and he's a good artist. Like he shouldn't have went away for as long as he did. Like that was kind of a shame.
that up right away.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
I was preparing it. I didn't mean to put it on while you guys were talking. I apologize.
No. I want. Like, this is what I want to see.
So
this is cool. I've seen this on Twitter and stuff.
yeah, this is my comic. This is Heroic Tales. This is Renzo Rodriguez is my artist. We're working together, and this is just look. You see, I got the corner box and the trade. You know.
Oh yeah,
That looks great. No, that looks
That's-
awesome.
I wanted to bring back like a Blue Sky, Bronze Age Marvel comics. You know what I mean? He's a traditional hero, and I got tired of all the. I feel really bad. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just meant to.
No. This
ready.
is perfect.
But I this is the patriarch, so he is my homage to fathers everywhere. You know, I'm not a dad. I have a dad. My brothers are all dads, and I just feel like fathers are getting the short shift in pop culture today. You know,
Yeah.
jokes. You know, the father goes to do something and the wives roll their eyes. You know what I mean? So I was like, dads are important. So I made up a character called the patriarch. And at first I made it as a joke. And then I started to really like the character. And then I started to also realize characters made out of spite or a joke, they don't have any lasting quality. So I thought about him. I fell in love with the character. And after I started talking about him, people were telling me, they really liked the idea of a father. This is all positive masculinity. This is a variant cover drawn by Pat Broderick. I love this. I was just showing my niece the original artwork today. So cool. And then this is the back cover. So I wanted one image to encapsulate everything about this comic book. So here he is, the patriarch. This is his family. This is him going, at home. The whole story is him trying to get home, but as a superhero, things happen and, supervillains attack. But he gets home to his homestead. This is his wife down here in the pink with the hat. If you could see, she's got some scars on her from some, I didn't tell that story yet. And because of that, they're kind of living in the mountains away from everybody because supervillains are crazy people by nature. And this is his 7 children. He's a dad. He's a loving father. He's a devoted husband. He's a patriot. He's a superhero. He's everything positive about comic book superheroes, fatherhood. Here's some of the interior art. You got to have
the art on all of this stuff is just epic, man. Like, you got just a fantastic art team on this book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the colors.
Renzo Rodriguez is doing the pencils and the inks, and Daniel De La Silva Rodriguez is doing the colors. He's the same colorist from Dave Brink's Perfect 10.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
That's awesome.
I thought the colors looked familiar.
The
color schemes.
The color, just so good. And and your boy Zach was like, "Don't people rob banks in comic books anymore?" So I was like, "I'm starting with a bank robbery." So
there you go.
So it's a classic bank robbery. He's got the hot chicks, with them. And this first appearance of the patriarch. Oh my God, I love this.
Yeah, that's great.
And then obviously it's not lettered yet. Daniel says he's going to be finished with the colors this week. And then that's why I've been looking at the black and whites. I'm going over the dialogue, and then it's time to letter it. We're basically done.
Nice.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I was mostly done before I even launched the campaign, and I'd say now we're with just a few pages of coloring and the letterings. And here's a coin that you could get as an add-on. I'm just fascinated with coins. This
very cool.
About the size of weight of a quarter.
Oh yeah, and people love like collectible stuff. So
Yeah.
like having a coin like that, or the shot glasses is really cool.
It's a pint glass. It's a full
pint glass. Okay, sure.
He's a dad, so of course he's gonna have a beer.
Oh sure.
And we unlocked 2 of the cards. I got to get the image up. I hope to have the image up by the end of the week. Because
cool.
on the back it's gonna have their role playing stats. Because I'm a big into role playing. So
okay.
There we go.
Well, you got a lot of cool add-ons and stuff.
Yeah, so we got a glass and 2 covers. And here's the thing: is the comic itself? It's only $10.
Yeah,
it's only $10 because I feel it's a big ask to ask people to pay $30. It's a complete story. There's a backup story called Unheroic Tales, which is the origin of a villain who's going to be big later on in the series. That's drawn by Ron Bosicki and colored by Oscar Carrera. And I'd like to do that. I'd like to do if from now on I'll have a little bit more business sense. When I hit the stretch goal, I'll actually start doing the backup. But I did it all at once because I was so excited.
Oh, yeah. No, I get it. And the thing is that's the thing is going through your first campaign is such a huge learning. Like
it's a kick in the ass.
Yeah. Like after your first campaign and once you get the book shipped out, like you're going to know so much information that is going to be so beneficial for you for your next campaign.
Yeah.
It's going to be night and day. Like you're going to work out all the kinks and it's going to make a huge difference for you.
Already there's stuff that I wouldn't do.
Yeah.
And I say I assembled the Avengers. I got a great team of people work. I got Nick Axe. He's helping me with design and all the computer stuff that I don't really know. He's designing the cards. Renzo, the artwork, and Renzo's such a good guy, man. I love Renzo's art. He's fantastic. Yeah, he did Coney Waves with Mark Bolton.
Yeah.
And I'm scrolling on the wrong thing. So I'm a first time guy, so I got 154 backers. I can't believe it.
No, it's awesome.
Almost $4,500. I joke, but it's not a joke that if we do hit 10,000, I'm flying Renzo to New York. First thing first is we're getting him some good New York pizza.
Sure.
Second, we got to get him some good New York Chinese food. Third thing, we'll autograph some comics and send them out.
Yeah,
But
there
we
you
got to
go.
have our priorities straight.
Nice.
And when I told Mark Polton that, he goes, "Oh my God, Renzo will come to New York. Can I come?" I was like, and
No, probably one of the best things that ever happened to me is on my very first crowdfunder that I ran on Kickstarter like over a decade ago. It failed.
oh,
And but no, it was the best thing in the world because like I was just excited and I was just like I was gonna go. Didn't matter. I didn't know what I was doing, and it like gave me a second to pause and look through my campaign. Like I would have never been able to fulfill the campaign the way
I see what you
set
mean.
up. I had
He promised
Good
too
thing
much.
it failed because it would have bankrupted you.
I had terrible rewards set up. I had things that just didn't make any sense. I was offering the book as a 4-issue miniseries, but also as a trade paperback, all 4 issues together. I didn't know what I was doing. So, like, everybody now like is seeing crowdfunding, and you can go look at better examples, and you can kind of. But then I was like 10 years ago, I was just like, I'm going for it. And thank God it failed because I learned so much in the failure that then my next campaign was successful. I didn't try to overreach. I didn't try to do too much. I kept everything kind of a little bit more simple. And to start out with simple is the best thing that you can have for yourself because it gets complicated real fast. So you guys are doing great. For your first campaigns, you guys are doing fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah. It's fun. I'm excited. I'm nervous. All those things. Like I said, I'm about 80% done. The coloring should be done this week. And Renzo's already working on issue 2, and I'm already I'm writing the script for issue 3 already. I mean, I got
that's
issues
fantastic.
plotted in crazy conspiracy theory notes. But I'm actually writing the scripts. I'm excited, and I was gonna make it an anthology. Every issue was gonna have a superhero or whatever. But some people already but I like the Patriarch. They didn't even read him yet, but they like the Patriarch.
No,
so
the character himself and the name, like you got something there. Like it's a very cool character, and the way you set him up as a father figure, and it's very family oriented. Like a lot of superhero stuff strays away from that. The way you're kind of diving into that, but he's still that like main superhero character. Like that's like not that's not anything anybody else is doing. So you got a unique. While he's familiar, he's unique in the way you're writing him. So that's a really strong thing.
That's exactly what I wanted. So I realized I might have like your boy Zach, who I'm a big fan of. Yep. He should have followed up with Jawbreakers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't want to. I'd like to think I could learn from other people's mistakes. I don't learn from my own mistakes, but I can learn from other. So issue 2 will have the Patriarch, but I also want to have my other characters. So what I'm going to do from going forward is going to be a flip book. So when you get it, it's going to be the Patriarch. Heroic Tales featuring the Patriarch, a full story, and then when you flip it over, it's going to have another cover, Heroic Tales, and it's going to have another, and that's going to be so every issue is going to have like my flagship character, the Patriarch, and then flip it over and it'll have it. So you're going to get 2 complete stories every issue. I don't know if I can keep the price at $10 every. We'll see. But if I need to make a longer story, I'll make it.
Yeah, you can adjust things as you go. I mean, fans understand like there's expenses behind all this stuff, so it's like it's not. Nobody's trying to rip anybody off. It's just it's like there's costs involved, and we're just trying to put out these fun comics that people can enjoy, but still trying to like stay above water.
Wait, what? We're supposed to profit from this? Damn it! I knew it. I knew
I don't want to sound like these Marvel weirdos that hate profit, but like so far, my goal is to really break even, and then I tell people I'm taking the first issue on the arm, and then I'm hoping that this is going to fund the second issue, and whatever, if I make any money on it, that that'll be great. I with money, I got mortgages to pay like everybody else.
Everybody's supposed to make a profit except for Rob.
We want Rob to make.
Don't tell my wife that, since this is my only job.
Would love
kill me.
My only
She'll
job.
kill me.
I'm retiring in a couple of years. I would love to retire and just.
What?
And
You get to retire?
The thing is
what?
Well, I get a pension if I wait 4 more years. I'm getting that. I don't care if this makes $1 million. I'm getting that pension.
yo, yeah, you've been there that long. You want that
dude.
kind of pension.
You know what? You will quickly learn in the comic book space that you say you have a pension, and we all just start. It was just a little bit of.
Every
saliva out of
freelancer.
this. Yeah,
Every freelancer will be drooling over that.
Yeah, well, my back hurts, my knees hurt. You know what I mean? I'm in construction.
Oh,
I'm in the mud. I'm in the mud and the rain and snow and the heat.
I've been drawing comic books for 20 years. I haven't taken care of myself. My knees creak when I go up the stairs. My back is bad. I'm like overweight. Like it's. There's no clear win for any of us. Like I guarantee you worked harder at your career physically than I did at mine. But we all end up feeling like crap at the end of the day.
The leaning over drawing table for 30 years.
Your lower lumbar is hell.
My back is destroyed. Yeah.
Didn't Frege just
their back hurts.
Yeah, didn't Frege just get his spine worked on for just drawing comics his whole life?
I know he just wears the brace on his arm. You know.
In 2003, I was hanging out with a buddy of mine who's a pro wrestler at MegaCon, and I kept doing the whole neck thing. And so he goes, let me take a look at it. Let me see if I can help you out.
Chiropractor?
Yeah, well, he did a little bit of that, but he afterwards he goes, that's pretty impressive. He goes, I know people who land on concrete floors for a living, and your neck is worse than theirs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, great, fantastic.
And Rob will back this up for me too. Is like, you get a couple of freelancers together and talking about work and what they're making and whatever, and invariably they'll be like, I could always just like. I remember there was one guy who would always talk about UPS. He's like, UPS is always hiring, and like, get out and drive the truck around and deliver some packages. And he's like, that's not a terrible way to make a living, and like drawing comics, I've had side jobs. I've had side hustles because comics were, there's up times and down times, and I've had side jobs to make sure that the bills get paid. So it's comics is a bitter mistress.
My buddy graduated Notre Dame with the fine arts degree, and he's just about to retire from UPS, and he has a beautiful house with the pool. You know what I mean? So
yes,
exactly. UPS is not a bad career path. There are plenty of good jobs out there that you make a comfortable living, your hours, your paychecks coming in. Comics is not one of those industries.
Yeah, it's weird because the nature of freelance means you make so much money that they don't want to keep you on full time.
Yeah.
But somehow the comic book industry took that as, but you get to make your own hours, so we don't need to pay you a commercial art rate. So we'll pay you what an average American will make in a year. We'll pay you that if you stay busy the entire year.
Yeah,
not that we're going to keep you busy the entire year. And good luck.
Yeah, and everything's always in their favor until you make a name for yourself.
Yes.
Until you become a big deal, and then you can turn it on them. Like Frank Miller's, the Joe Madureiras, the guys.
Dave Finch.
Dave Finch, exactly. Those guys, when they became the fan favorites, then you can just turn the screws to the big companies.
It's a pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
It's a pyramid scheme. Most of it,
although
for the pyramid to be strong, the base has to be a lot of people holding it up.
But
the
I think
couple of
those
guys
days
at the
are over.
top.
I think those days are over because there are no
Yeah.
big names. There are no big names, and Marvel and DC aren't.
They won't pay him.
They won't
No.
pay anybody now. So
No.
all of those big name guys are going out and doing stuff like we're doing right now. They're starting to
I don't
figure.
even think the guys who are working at Marvel and DC know who these guys are. Like I saw Walt Simonson on Twitter say that he was available for work.
Oh my God!
You know,
Yeah,
who,
I'll take a Walt Simonson cover over here, please. Thank
Right,
you.
right.
Yes.
who is not hiring Walt Simonson, and that person should be fired.
Marvel DC won't pay his rate.
Right, right.
That's what it is. That they won't pay his rate.
Ronan is asking, do you have any
Oh.
plans for digital comics?
I've been asked this before. I don't think I'm gonna start doing digital. I haven't done digital in a long time. The only time I do digital is so I will do an adult digital short story that is usually a bonus thing in the highest reward tiers, and it's a little bit more risque than the regular stuff, the TNA. So that's when I do digital stuff. And then sometimes I'll collect those and put them into a print book because not everybody gets the digital stuff. But the digital stuff is usually reserved for that, for the kind of higher end reward tiers as a bonus to those backers. You're going to get a little bit more risque than the TNA stuff. The Cinemax After Dark, if you will.
Oh, After Dark.
Yeah, so that's where I do the digital stuff. Yeah, it's Tawny Katane and Christy Canyons fighting for the fate of the galaxy, and whatever happened to their clothes, nobody knows. But yeah, that's where those stories come in.
And I do digital because I want to be the guy that doesn't even print. I want to sell 100,000 copies digitally. And
if I could sell a ton of stuff digitally, I would love to. Digital doesn't always work that way.
No,
it could be a great idea.
Yeah.
More often than not, it kind of bites you in the hind end.
Yes.
And you don't really see. Unfortunately, you don't see the benefit
the support
that you think you would see. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You don't see the support. Clint and I have joked that he will go full on Travis Jim Lee pencil crazy, and I'll ink it when we can create a digital empire.
Oh,
we would put out a book a month.
Like me and Rob, if we hit the numbers we needed to, we could crush on some like Jim Lee Travis art and just mac the hell out of it. But it just comes down to time.
Yeah,
it's
time.
Like,
and it would take
the time that you'd have to spend on those pages would slow the project down. So you'd need to be doing like John Malin and Shane Davis kind of numbers. And those guys, you look at their art and it's gorgeous, and I drool over how their books, and I'm like, I want to spend that time doing the books like that. But you got to hit those numbers. It's a numbers game is all it really is.
And it's a YouTube thing too.
Yep.
And I know I never want to be on YouTube.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I'm not a YouTube. Like I would love to get a bunch of followers, and I hope I do someday. But Christy Canyons, going back old school there. But yeah, like I
think I learned anatomy from Christy Canyon.
Yeah, she might have been the model for some of my covers. But yeah, I spend day and night drawing my books and putting the best artwork that I can in. But I also I'm churning out pages every day. Like I'm getting my books out there, putting the best art that I can in there, trying to make my books look gorgeous. But I also want to get them out there and get the campaigns done and get everybody their books right away. So it's a time crunch thing and it's a numbers thing. But yeah, you just do the best you can, really.
You're a storyteller.
Digital tier kicking and screaming, because a couple of people in my chats are like, I live in Europe, and I sorry to say I won't be able to get your book because they didn't want to pay $40-$50 shipping for a $10. So I was just like,
oh yeah.
I'm thinking, what is it more important to get more eyeballs on my project? So yeah, I was
and that's like where you start looking at it like from that perspective is like, yeah, I want more people to see the book, but am I giving it away? And you need
Yeah,
to
like
make,
will it hurt? Will every
yeah.
time you sell a digital, does that mean you're not selling two printed copies or whatever? Like will it hurt the bottom line doing digital?
It's just business. It's like
Yeah.
you got to figure out how it works out best, and everybody's different.
Yeah,
Everybody's different. Like some people,
I got no comparison yet. You know
yeah,
how
and that's exactly it. Is like figuring out how that all works best for you.
I am.
Yeah, Rob is.
Yeah. It takes forever, but yeah, it's pencils, marker, black ink, white ink, and then when I'm really being inattentive, there's gray ink to go in and fix some of the marker stuff.
are
I
you
was
selling your original art?
I actually had a lot of the artwork for sale when I was on my first 60 days. I had one guy pick up a page, and he gets a pick from because he's the only one, and it's one of those you get to pick things. So now I'm gonna have the next convention I go to after the book's printed. I'll have all 68 pages and portfolios and
Oh
showing them
yeah,
off.
yeah.
So
You'll sell
and
a lot of
people,
those at conventions,
people
especially when they
they'll,
see the detail you put into everything.
Yeah, they look great.
they'll have the opportunity to buy those pages at that point. So
I was traditional, always pencil, Bristol board, ink, myself, till 5 years ago, and then I finally. I don't even remember what got me to do it, but I got my Wacom. I wanted to try it out. I'd heard people talk about it, and I love it. Production wise, like I would say I'm twice as fast digitally as I am on traditional. I can get more work just done that much faster. What I am thinking and planning on doing, especially with probably the next campaign, which is probably going to be the next Blue Bombshell book in the fall, is do all the covers traditional and have the original art for the covers for sale in the campaign.
that's cool.
I've kind of been missing an opportunity on that just
Mhm.
because I've gotten a little bit too reliant on the digital and just getting stuff done fast. But I think I'm getting myself enough breathing room where I can really go to town and make just gorgeous traditional covers,
Smart.
and then have those for sale on the campaign. Because obviously people love covers
Yeah,
for popular books. Blue Bombshell is one of my most popular characters. Pirate Queen, Blue Bombshell. It's kind of between the two of them. So I think that's probably going to be my plan for doing some traditional art for the next book.
I just had an idea. Would you be able to, in the middle of your comic, have a centerfold?
That's cool.
I mean the image books, and I remember Wildcats. You flip it out 6 or 7 pages to see all of Zealot's leg.
Yes.
Kick some alien robot guy in the face.
Yeah, Zealot and Grifter.
Yeah,
that
would be. I don't know. But Jim had a lot more money to work with in those early image days than I do with the printers.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm happy with the printers that they can do with. I can get some chromium covers and stuff. I can get some foil cards now. So it's like I'm kind of doing some of the early image stuff I can do with the printers I'm working with now. So that aspect of it is fun, but I don't know about a centerfold.
Marcus, originally it was taking me a week to do a Death Raider page. Now I can do 3 pages in a week, which is what I've been trying to do while I do freelance work to pay the bills as I keep working on Death Raider. But obviously I'm squeezing in coloring Death Raider while I'm doing the freelance. So I'm probably doing 2 pages of freelance work and then as many pages of Death Raider colors.
And that's a busy week. That's a full week of artwork right there.
It's confusing because I'm not a multitasker. I like to focus on one thing and do it.
Oh, sure.
So for me to jump over and have to start coloring pages, it's either I can sit and color pages upstairs at my computer, or I come downstairs and I work at the table on actual the pages.
the different aspects. You're usually total different section of your brain.
Yeah.
What I like, one of the things that I like is at the end of my books, I do all the artwork and then I do the coloring.
Uh-huh.
The end of my books is I'll go back in, I do the lettering myself.
Mm-hmm.
And lettering is a total, like, I use Illustrator, and it's a totally different thing than drawing or inking or lettering, or coloring.
Yeah.
But like, it's like I get super like mellow and relaxed when I'm lettering. I don't know what it is, but like lettering, like chill, and I'll just tinker with the balloons and get everything just, the way I want it. And boy, like, I need to chill out. Like, if I start doing some lettering on my pages, and like you're looking at it at high res with those crisp balloons and like the perfect fonts, and I'm like, yeah, that looks good. I'm just like,
See, I have this issue of I base everything, probably because of being an inker for so long. I base everything on, how long am I spent on this versus if I had inked a page.
Oh, sure.
How much money would I have made inking a page?
Time wise, yep.
So even when I was messing around with lettering 6 months ago, trying to figure it out, I would just like, well, I just burned half the day getting nothing done, son of a bitch. So
the beginning, it's so frustrating because you don't know how to use any of those freaking tools. And like I got the How to Letter book, and like I was reading pages. What I was trying to figure out was how to butt the word balloon onto the panel, but cut the lower part of the balloon off so it's flat on the panel.
Yeah.
And I must have read that paragraph like for 3 or 4 days.
Oh no, don't tell me that.
And trying to figure out, like, there's a certain little button thing you push, a series of buttons, and it just cuts the balloon perfectly. I'll tell you, Rob, I figured it out for the two of us.
Believe me, I'm going to be asking you when I finish colors and I start lettering.
Oh, God. But once you figure it out, then it's like, this is perfect. Oh, look at how nice that looks.
Fantastic.
It's always something.
I got a question for you. When it comes to you know how in some of those DC painted projects they would have the lettering colored,
mm-hmm.
and it usually didn't print well, and you couldn't read it. Do you just stay away from that on your stuff? Like, don't even color the lettering or the word balloons?
Oh, like they're like putting like colored letters in the lettering.
Like in Batman, one of the painted projects, Joker would talk and it was red lettering and you couldn't read it at all.
Or the Vision always had the yellow box or something.
Yeah. Do you stay away from that?
I do for the most part, other than special effects, but special effects usually are a lot bolder.
Mm-hmm.
Very rarely do I use any color I'm not sure I've ever used color in the lettering, and that might be the reason why.
Okay. That's something I kind of told myself probably I should stay away from, especially for the first issue. I mean,
bold and italics, for sure. That's the one thing I learned right away. It was one of my early books. I had hired a letterer, and he's like, "Well, don't you want any bold words or bold?" And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't even think about that." But then you go look through comics, and it's like, "Oh yeah, there's like bold stuff
all the time,
all over the place, emphasize." And it's like, "Oh, I'm just so used to reading comics, it didn't register." Now it's like I go back and check if I don't put at least one bold word in a balloon. It's like, oh, that's a really bland balloon. But I guess it's just talking heads. But yeah, you want those emphasis, and like if you don't have them in there, that's when it becomes noticeable to readers. They're just like, it's like da 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 da. But you throw and hell will rain down, and you throw that in bold, it's like da 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 da, bam bam bam. Then it's like it really, those little things like change how the reader reads the book. So
I'm not worried about that because I actually, when I make comments on YouTube, I actually capitalize
bold stuff.
I use bold. I do bold already because I'm just like to emphasize certain words. It's practice for the lettering.
No, bold makes a big difference.
Rob, I wanted to ask you. You said you had a couple of exclusive contracts with DC.
Mm-hmm. I
So
did
does that? So
4 years in a row, or 8 years in a row, 4 contracts.
okay. Now that means obviously you can't do comics with other companies. So what happens if they don't offer you work? Like, what are you allowed to do other stuff? Like, what?
No,
I'll be right
literally
back,
what
guys.
happened.
Oh, sure.
Literally what happened was that I would, something would finish, whether it was a series or if it was some one shot they sent me or whatever, and I would just send out emails to the editors that I normally worked with. Hey, I don't have anything to do, because at some points, mostly when I was at DC, I was always so busy that I looked forward to having like a week off to just like decompress.
Yeah.
But then when that week would turn into 2 weeks, and then that 2 weeks would turn into 3 weeks, and that throughout my career, no matter how busy they had me, there'd be those weird 3 weeks where I wouldn't have anything to do. I would send out emails to the editors I would regularly work with, and sometimes they had work for me and sometimes they didn't. And you just didn't get paid for 3 weeks. That was it. You're just like, I was lucky enough that because of the books I was working on, it always seemed to be a quarterly royalty check would show up at that time when I had 3 weeks off. But it also meant that instead of saving my royalties, it was just compensating for the time I wasn't working. So unfortunately, that didn't, certainly, there's no savings. That's not how, when you're working all the time, that's not the type of job you want.
In my field, time off is unpaid.
Yeah, that's exactly what comic books are too. Even with a contract, it doesn't mean anything.
Like we could take pay, but it's coming out of our 401k.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we're getting a 10% hit, and then it's coming out of. So if I was off for 6 weeks for surgery, it was just
you're burned. You're
off employment for 6 weeks. Right?
Yeah.
Congratulations, guys! I'm living on $400 a week.
Well, and there's no unemployment in comics,
right?
So you're just you hope maybe there's you hope that a convention came along, or maybe someone who had emailed you a couple of days ago was asking about pages they want to buy or a cover they want to buy. I was always fortunate at DC when it seemed like a quarterly royalty check would show up that time when I was waiting around for work. But like I said, then I have no savings.
Rely on that, yeah.
What
there's no
you
savings.
Hope for is when you're working for two different small, but well-known smaller publishers, that both of them don't decide to not pay you for the books you've drawn at the same time in the exact same month, and you've got no money coming in, so you have to go work at Home Depot for 8 months. You hope that doesn't happen.
See, I just, as an inker, I wasn't fast enough, because many guys would tell me every time I go to a con, dude, you should be doing 2 books a month, so that when one book ends, or you're supposed to do 2 books a month, so that
you've always got that work.
You always have work, and then you don't dip into your savings, or you get to save your royalty checks.
That's easy to say, but drawing 2 books a month that's a lot of work.
Well, our buddy Art T-Bear, he was a beast. He was doing 3-4 books.
Art was the machine. There's a reason Art's a legend in the industry for 40 years.
Yeah, I never learned that skill. I learned how to put too much time into every page, and I always thought that at some point I would be rewarded with the premium book, with the premium penciler, and they would leave me alone, and we would just do magic.
Yeah,
that didn't happen. That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep going back to Chuck, but he's been on my channel a few times, and he loves to tell industry stories. He said he didn't like having exclusive contracts because he's a writer, and
sure.
You can write faster than you could draw. He said he would hand in scripts. He would be 6-7 months ahead on a contract. Then they're like, "Okay, you can't write anymore," and he'd be like, "I could work for another company and make more money." You know what I mean? So he knew the exclusive contracts kind of limited.
For writers, it'd be stifling. For artists, it's almost a necessity.
Yeah.
Because exactly what you just said there is like he can get out so far in advance. And I mean, for an artist, that's what you want. You want to have the writer have like the next 6 issues scripted for you already and approved.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's insane how infrequently that actually happens in comics anymore. I mean, a lot of these artists, when books get delayed, it's because they're waiting on the script from the writer, and it's they're waiting for scripts to be okayed, and it's like the scripting should be the quickest aspect of putting the comic book together, but just because of, I don't know if it's ego or editorial demand or the writer, it's like they can't lock down what the script is, and then they're pushing the whole entire creative team back. And like the creative team needs the most amount of time compared to the writers. So
I heard that the letterers get screwed the most because that's like the last thing that's done. And okay, you got to letter this comic; it's got to be done tomorrow.
lettering can be done really fast. A good letterer, a good letterer can letter an entire comic book in a couple hours.
Oh wow!
Yeah, lettering, like I couldn't do that, but I've seen really good letterers who can perfectly letter a comic book that looks perfect the way you want it to look, and letter the whole thing in maybe 2 hours.
Are you familiar with Bill Williams? He's going to be lettering my comic. He's the writer and letterer on a comic called Punchline right now.
Okay.
He did work.
And I'm not saying most letterers do that, but there's really experienced letterers that like probably worked at Marvel for 10, 15 years that could letter. Like they'll it's like, I need this lettered and turned around by tomorrow. You give them a 22-page book.
And they do it.
Yeah, they'll turn it around and have it ready for you by tomorrow.
That's impressive. I caught my cat drinking whiteout water. So
God,
he is a monster. He's an orange cat, and he's a monster.
Our orange cat's trouble. I've never had an orange cat. I'm a cat person, but I've never had an orange cat. If an orange cat is more trouble than these regular cats, then I don't know what to say.
Growing up, I always had female cats as a kid, and now I've had 2 male cats, and especially this one that was drinking the whiteout water. We've had him since he was a kitten. I've never had a male kitten cat before. He's a monster, and he was a monster when he was a kitten, and he's still a monster.
What's his name?
Yeah.
What's your cat's name?
It's Odie. It's short for Odin's son because we're nerds here in this house.
Oh yeah, Odin is my favorite fictional character of all time. I love Odin. Yeah.
Well, if you want to pull up Pirate Queen, we can do a little quick update.
Sure. Let's do that. Here you go. You're in control of that.
So we were under 16 before, so we went over 16 and
nice bump.
Nice. I'm taking all that credit. I'm taking
all
credit.
Right. 522.
Oh, I'm taking a lot of credit.
139 backers. So yeah, we've just since we've been on, I think I've added probably between like 7, 8, maybe 9 backers, and we went from in the 15s to over 16.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So no, we're having a real nice bump.
I know
here.
Death Hunter got at least 1 backer.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So good to see that. Like love seeing that, and thanks everybody in the chat for checking us out tonight and being here. And I always love talking comics, so it doesn't take too much arm twisting for me. It's just it's just staying up late. I'm not the night owl that I used to be.
I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm struggling to stay awake, but this is fun.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's funny because I've been back in Clint's books, I think since day one, but then Clint and I were both on Mandy and Shane's channel,
Yeah.
and he's talking TNA and boobies and everything, and then I follow up with my dads and families and.
There's an audience for everything, man. That's why there's Cinemax and the ABC Family Channel.
but I I'm gonna have some sexy stuff, like
Yeah.
you got to see, because Renzo specifically asked for more sexy women. In issue 2 of my comic, we have Mary Sue is the name of the character. She debuts, and she's
perfect.
so I'm kind of like playing with the concept of a Mary Sue. So
For sure.
But she's perfect. But perfect is a subjective term, so she's perfect in the eyes of her grandmother.
Clint, I actually have a question for you when it comes to the TNA books.
Sure.
I know that Luke had a stream where that was titled, he was talking about is Kickstarter ending the TNA comics? Like they're now.
Yeah,
do you have any idea about that? Did you know? Or?
I ran Kickstarters early on. Like I haven't probably ran a Kickstarter in close to 8 years, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd run stuff over there initially, but then when I kind of when you're doing this stuff, you kind of research everything. You kind of see what everybody's doing. Basically, I came to the conclusion Indiegogo was a better platform, had a stronger fan base. Comicsgate was I'm like, I want to be a part of this. When I discovered it, I only wish I had gotten in on it earlier, but it's just you find out about things when you find out about them. I know 10 years ago, Kickstarter had no problem with TNA, and I'd seen every once in a while, like my buddy really wants to do his own crowdfunder, so he's always looking out for different crowdfunders that he thinks they're similar to what he's going to do, and then he'll send me links. So that's kind of my only stuff that I see about Kickstarter now. But he sent me a few different TNA type comics that are on Kickstarter that have done moderately to pretty well. One was kind of lesbian themed, run and written by a lesbian, so I don't know if that matters, because I know DEI matters a little bit more over at Kickstarter. That would be my only thing, are those ones getting through better than just regular TNA books?
Yeah.
But overall, and I mean, hell, who knows with Indiegogo? I mean, like I said,
DEI at Kickstarter, my comic is going to get crushed. A comic by a white straight guy about the goodness of fathers and the importance of family. Oh, well,
you hope people don't pay that much attention, but I mean, my stuff has been, like I said, my stuff's been shadow banned on Indiegogo. You need the direct link to find my books,
which is crazy.
But the thing is I don't know if that's the reason. I couldn't say that that's the reason. It's just, I mean, you just do what you can do and you hope for the best is really all I can say.
I got some pretty risque comics off of Kickstarter.
Yeah, I think Kickstarter had their fair share of TNA books on.
But I heard it's Stripe that's causing the payment. Kickstarter itself.
The payment thing that they use.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I do ask because I have toyed with the idea that my next book would be a TNA book, because I even came up with the title. I told Clint I was going to take one of the characters from Death Rider 1 and do size big Vegas Adventure and do all the stuff that I didn't do in the Death Raider with TNA, and have a lot of fun big titty artwork and stuff of that nature. Make it serious, but half naked all at the same time.
Oh yeah, there's nothing wrong with a serious comic with hot chicks in it.
I'm planning on doing a vampire horror story that if you're doing a vampire horror story, there's going to be nudity and gore in it, or you're not doing a vampire horror story.
Yeah. Otherwise, there's no point. That's like the that's the DNA of a vampire horror story.
I sent the
It's
script to a
nudity.
friend. I sent my script to a friend to read it. You know, she's a PhD psychologist and everything, and she just said, "You have problems." That was the most disturbing thing.
That's when you know you struck gold.
Yeah,
Like,
I was like, oh,
I think I'm onto something here. That's perfect. You have problems. Well, don't we
she's
all?
a psychologist. If we don't have problems, you don't get paid. So
Yeah.
She looks for him.
yeah. Do you want to bring up Death Raider? See if anything.
Oh, I've been checking my email. You have you are my backer, so it's always cool. So no, we don't have to. There'll be no drama of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it did break 20. It did break 24 because of you. So I appreciate
that's
that very
awesome.
much.
But you're not
so
closing tonight. You still got plenty of time.
Oh yeah, because I'm I'm still working on the colors. I'm not closing. Yeah, I won't be closing. I probably won't be closing for I think safely I can say because 2 months, because man, I don't know how long it's gonna. I messed around with the lettering 6 months ago and it was not fun. So I don't even know how long it's gonna take to letter that son of a bitch. It might take a month for me to letter Death Raider. But we are cranking on the colors. I just got in the last couple of days I've gotten 5 more pages from the flatter. So it's coming down to like less than 20 pages to color of 68 pages.
The end is in sight, Rob.
Oh, dude, I know.
Dude, you're gonna be so ecstatic when you ship out that last book. There's no better feeling than sending the last package.
Well, I'm still scared
from your campaign and knowing that campaign is over.
Because this is my first campaign, so even when I'm done with everything, even when the printer it shows up the palette from the printer, like just to having to switch gears and go into shipping and packing mode makes me just nervous because I've never done that before.
Yeah, I've never done it either.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Clint, do you do your own shipping and fulfilling?
Yes.
Yep, I do all my own shipping. And you guys can talk to me about it when you guys get to it. Seriously. The first 5 years that I was doing shipping on my crowdfunding stuff, it was the most stressful. And the thing is I didn't know what I was doing. Now, like I've got a stamps.com account. There's other different shipping. There's like ShipStation or whatever. These sites are life-saving things because you open an account, you attach it to whatever payment plan you've got. You print out your postage. You print it out. Like I got my printer right here. Prints everything.
Do I need a special printer?
The label.
I got a regular printer. I have a regular.
That's what I got. I got a $20 Walmart printer over here that prints out an 11 or 8.5 by 11. What you do is you go to Walmart or whatever CVS or whatever shipping thing you get one of those boxes of. It's an 8.5 by 11 page, but it's got 2 printing labels on each page, and you get 100 of them in a box. You slap them in your printer. You just print out those labels, peel them off, slap them on your Gemini mailer. You bring your big box to the post office, and you just drop it up. Before I realized how to do all that stuff, I was handwriting all the labels. I was putting them on the boxes. Didn't even have Gemini mailers. I was just using like little flat mailers things. And I was taking all those boxes to the post office and then sitting there with like 20 to 30 to 40 packages. And getting postage for each one, holding up the line, knowing that there was like
everybody hated you on that line.
Just staring laser beams into the back of my head. I would have such anxiety. I would just feel so terrible. And I hated doing I love doing the projects. I hated doing the shipping because of this. you can avoid all of that. You can avoid all those nightmares. Yep. John's got stuff right there. You see,
I'm saving the Gemini mailers from other campaigns.
yep, just so you can see which are the good ones,
30
which
of them
ones you like better. And you
What
can
are they,
get
$1 each? That's $30, guys. Come on.
Yep. No, 100%. Absolutely. I've ran short and I'm like, oh, I got this one. I'll just peel this off and slap this together and duct tape it all up and we're good to go.
It's funny. Somebody's going to get 9 Lives Comics. Why is that? This is Heroic Tales. This isn't Shane Davis.
Exactly. But once you do all that stuff, once you use stamps.com, once you got your Gemini mailer shipped in, you got your backer boards, you got your bags all set up, then it's just busy work. It's just
I love bags.
It's going through your perks list, you go through your backers list, go by reward. So like you'll do 30 today, that is they get this cover, they get this trading card, you stuff the envelope, you stuff the mailer, you stack them up, you drop them off at the post office at the end of the day. So shipping is way easier than it was when I started, and it was just because I didn't know what I was doing when I started. So
yeah.
if you run into those hassles, ask me.
You know, the first time doing anything, I'm a nervous wreck, and then, you know.
No, yep. No, I can walk you through it. You order your Gemini mailers, you get your backer boards, you get your bags, you open up a stamps.com account, you put a few $100 in there to begin with because it's going to be more as you go.
Yeah.
You print your labels off, you go get your label papers, throw them in your printer. It's hard work. It's a hassle. It's not the fun part of the campaign by any means. But
I was telling people now I'm at the work part.
Writing
the story, talking to Renzo, watching the art come in.
Yeah, that's the fun.
That was, oh my God, was that fun. Now I'm going over the dialogue and talking with Nick about what, you know, with the future, and then fulfilling. This is going to be work.
Yeah,
this has been fun at this point. You know, I'm about to cross.
It's just busy work. It's not like hard work. It's just like I'm gonna sit here for 8 hours and I'm gonna stuff as many envelopes as
if I can put the TV on or listen to
music.
It's better than being in the mud hole.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep,
absolutely. So, yeah, you guys can do it for sure, no problem. It's just it's not the fun of making the book, but it's still a important part of the process.
Yeah, it's the most important. Is keeping
getting the books to the back, and that's where I say, handing that last package, handing that last Gemini mailer where everything's out over the post office guy, like it's like there's a tension that just flows out of your shoulders and your neck, and you're like. You're walking a little lighter on your feet after that last package is shipped.
My plan, I July 1st around there, I'd like to start doing a Kickstarter for 2 months, and then when that winds down, I'd like to do Indiegogo. And when that winds down, I'm hoping to be fulfilling the Fund My Comics.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
And I'm hoping to maybe start the campaign for issue 2. And just keep going.
Yep.
But guys, sure. I'm going to wind this down now. This has been 2 hours.
No, thank you, John. This has been terrific.
So anything you want to bring up? Anything you guys want to say? You want to bring up? We'll bring up Pirate Queen versus Slave Girl. We'll talk about it one more time.
Go back, Pirate Queen versus Slave Girl.
Yeah,
that's it.
It's fun.
That's my whole. You'll like it.
Couple of big reasons to back this book.
Yes, 2 big reasons, 4 big reasons on both girls.
Yeah, it's a fun comic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it absolutely is.
And you're not being pretentious about it. It is what it is, and and you're wearing it on your sleeve. I admire that.
Oh yeah, I'm not a pretentious guy.
But I do like your artwork, and I said it on Twitter earlier. Like at some point, I would love to see you draw my characters in some capacity. You know what I mean? Because I just love this clean, classic superhero artwork.
Thank you.
That's what drew me into your comics. The boobs and everything else. Another thing I wanted to talk about that we got so many. How conversations.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
like your superiors and your superhero work.
Yep.
Like I have what I call the pyramid theory of superheroes. It all starts with the superhero's name. If you don't have a good code name for the superhero, that is the focus. Everything else falls from that. Like I say to people, the Flash. When I say to the Flash to somebody who doesn't know, he can predict a lot of what he's got to be fast, or maybe he has light powers, or he bright. You know what I mean? And then so once you get the superhero name, you got to have a costume. And to me, a costume is simple and elegant, the least amount of lines as possible, the way Jack Kirby or whatever. And then the powers. All three of those things have to work together, or you don't. And your characters do that perfect.
No.
Like, when I was reading the superiors, they had great names. Their costumes were elegantly designed, and their powers worked together. Like you didn't have a guy named Fireman who had ice power. You know what I mean? Like everything worked. The costumes kind of fit. And that's what drew me into your stuff. All the other stuff, I'm staying with it because I like the stories and everything. But you do superheroes right. The other guy is Dave Brink, who does Perfect 10.
Yeah, and
he does superheroes right. And this guy's he's a Dutchman. Doing American comics better than most Americans.
No, I talk with Dave. I've been on the show before, and I promote the hell out of Dave's books, and I'm thankful that Dave promotes the hell out of my books too, because me and Dave both, I think, kind of have. And who knows, down the road, maybe me and him can kind of do something together that would be fun, because I really like Dave's stuff.
Yeah, it's fun.
Dave's a total pro, and his comics always look just terrific.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of Pau Roddick's. Pau worked at Avatar when I worked at Avatar. He was drawing Pandora, I think, when I was doing the variant covers for Pandora. And Pau Roddick's was drawing the interiors. So I never met him personally, but like just that, work experience. I've known Pau's art for a long time, and he does great stuff for Dave. But Dave's books are fantastic. I love Perfect 10. Those are great
comics. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Perfect 10, I think he has an active campaign right now.
Yeah.
For the art book. But Perfect 10 is, I think, in the indie sphere, it's my favorite superhero.
Yeah.
In the indies, it's better than Marvel, better than DC, but that's damning by faint praise, right?
I inked Pau on 3 pages of Justice League. Yeah, he's awesome.
Cool. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Pau got a shot at Justice League too, didn't he?
Yeah, I inked like 3 pages, just trying to, just helping out. And they were nice looking pencils.
Yeah, no, Pau's a good artist. He hasn't gotten a lot of shots, but he deserves. He's a great artist.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Why he didn't get
he just didn't work at DC. It's like some people don't get the opportunities that other people get, and it kind of seems like that with him, because you look at his art and it's like, oh, this should be like X-Men, this should be Avengers, like this should be something pretty big time, and he hasn't gotten the opportunities that he maybe should have.
Well, you see at DC, as Ivan became more popular, Ivan already had a studio of assistants.
Oh, sure.
Lined up, and as they got better, Ivan could feed DC all the Ivan Rice wannabes, which were his assistants. So I think that was probably part of it, is they already had that pipeline of up and coming talent that they wanted to use, because it keeps Ivan happy also.
Yeah. Well, now Ivan's moved on from DC, hasn't he?
Yes, but
his stuff with Jeff.
But his assistants are kicking ass at DC.
Oh, who are those guys?
I'm really bad with names, but I know one of them. Because I follow him on Instagram, and every time he posts a commission on Instagram, it's like, oh, dude, he is getting so good at doing his bosses. Ivan's.
Does he look like Alan Davis then too, or?
You know how
because Ivan looks like Ivan, but Ivan looks like Alan Davis too.
Yes, but you know how Ivan has added more and more detail, more rendering, and the little grid lines and things like that.
It's more like that.
Yeah. His assistants have kept right up with him.
Okay, because Ivan started out as an Alan Davis clone, but Alan Davis always has those brush lines. It's always that smooth.
Yes.
everything's on a curve. Where like Ivan, it seemed like he started doing a little bit more of the check line, a little bit.
Yeah. They always say a little bit more Neil Adams-y with some of the rendering and stuff. I know of his guys were doing a lot of Teen Titans work and stuff like that because they could do
I'm so out of the loop now with what's happening there anymore that I don't even know which of those guys. But yeah, I'd like to look because I loved Ivan, but I love Alan Davis, which is why I loved Ryan Hitch.
Yeah,
that's why I love Ivan.
We all didn't fall in love with those Excalibur comics, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I loved Excalibur. Like, yeah, I plan on ripping some of that stuff off in my superhero stuff. I absolutely love Excalibur. I want to do like one of my favorite comics is the what is it, the cross dimensional where they go to the Earth, where it's like the Avengers, but like Giant Man or Ant-Man is like he's into the stratosphere, and like every step he takes in the ocean is like upsetting like ecosystems and stuff.
I despised all the multi-dimensional stuff that was in Excalibur. I wanted to see, especially when Captain Britain was like Superman, I just wanted to see them fight the X-Men villains. I want to see them fighting Juggernaut and the Sentinels.
Well, there's that great cover where Juggernaut just walks over Captain Britain and Alan in the little lineup. There's more where that came from. I mean, Alan Davis's humor to me, well, it was, I don't know how much was Claremont, how much was Alan Davis, but
yeah.
I love that stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. I need sleep.
Rob, it was great to meet you. And if you guys want to come back for a regular chat, you know, that I usually do, you know, come back. Rob, I just got to meet you.
Great meeting you, man.
Come on down.
He's eyeballing it again.
Oh, there he is.
Get him out of the whitewash wash.
I don't know what's wrong with him. He's never been outside, but he acts like a junkyard cat when it comes to things he chews on plastic, all that kind of plastic bags. He's a nut. So
I'm a cat person. But thanks a lot, everybody. You know, you got a couple more hours for Pirate Queen versus Slave Girl. Jeez, I can't even talk. It's a fun comic. You know exactly what it is. You know what I mean? It's you know, sexy women, space stuff. Death Rider, man. I looked. I backed. You know, I put my money.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much.
Good, you know. Again, I get a little embarrassed when I'm talking to somebody. I'm like, I don't know what your comic is, so forgive me.
I think I did an okay job explaining it. And
all you had to do is show that artwork. That's all you had to do. It sells itself.
I kind of feel like every time I have to explain it one more time, I'm like, just go to the page. I explained it on the page. You're going to see some artwork. You can go into the updates and you can see even more artwork. You know, why do I have to say anything?
I tell you, man, I'm becoming like Stan Lee now. I could get on a stream, don't know who you are, okay, and then almost automatically go into the pitch about the comp. But you know what?
And try to sell. We gotta sell. Move those units.
It's an easy sell because I think I'm making a great comic. You know, and you know, I think Death Rider. You just show that art. You know, you shouldn't have to say anything. That art is awesome. You know.
Thank you, dude. I had so much fun working out with a lot of super talented artists at Marvel and DC, and I hope even a little bit of it rubbed off.
Oh, it did. Yeah. Again, I'm looking at the color, going, "Oh my god, I love this." Then you show the black and white. I'm like, "Oh my god!" So I could see that struggle that you're having, you know, and I could see why people want a black and white.
Yep.
Yeah. But all right. Anything anybody want to say before I shut down?
Good.
It's been fun. It's been fun.
Yeah, I enjoy. This is my dream, talking to people about comic books. You know what I mean? I'm not a sports guy. You know, I was at a family function today. Everybody's talking about baseball and whatever. And I'm like, quiet. You know, and don't you want to talk? I'm like, I don't know what to talk about. You know,
you need to raise your dreams a little higher. Mine is to fall asleep on a giant pile of money. So or superpowers.
Yeah.
And I'll
Yeah,
take either
Either
one.
one
Of
is
them.
good.
In my
Yeah.
20s, my dream was to fall into a pile of beautiful women. You know, now it's to be able to work full time in comic books. You know what I mean?
See, you still get.
I don't know. I don't know
let's
if that
get a
means
little
I
bigger.
get short or if I become pathetic. I don't really. I can't figure out what.
The good dreams to have.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Comics are fun.
Yeah,
We all
comics.
love it. If we didn't love comics,
Obviously.
we wouldn't be here. Yeah.
Obviously, love
Exactly.
comics. Thanks a lot, guys. I'm going to
All
go now. Usually, I recommend somebody go. I didn't even check yet, but thanks a lot. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., I'm going to be doing my Sunday comics. I'm going to be. Geez, I don't even know where I put it. Sunday
We're messing
comics.
up.
I'm going to be going through Eerie number 5. You know, and then I forget if it's Wednesday or Thursday. Bill Black of FemForce is going to be on my channel, and we're going to be
Cool.
talking comics with Bill Black.
Cool.
You know, I'm excited about that. He's all excited. It's his first live chat. He was actually sending me screenshots of his camera, making sure everything's okay. He's all nervous. All right,
Nice.
all right. But thanks a lot, everybody. Bye bye.
Thanks, John.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, chat.